All right, guys. Welcome back to the IBENDEOBE podcast. Today we have a special guest with us. Her name is Sherri, and Sherri has been able to create a universe within herself. And in doing so, she's able to access a lot of the same things that we can out of our body. So without further ado, welcome, Sherri.
Thank you guys for having me. Very excited to be here. And I appreciate all of the work that you guys are doing. So thanks for having me.
Welcome, Sherri. Good to
You're
have you.
welcome. Good to have you. Thank you for coming. We appreciate your time.
And real quick, for those tuning in for the first time, the IBENDEOBE stands for the IBE, the NDE, and the OBE. So the in-body experience, the near-death experiences, and out-of-body experiences. And our guest today, obviously, is going to be talking a lot about the in-body experience and also about the out-of-body experience as well.
Yeah, beautiful. So, yeah, thanks for clearing that up, Bam. And so beautiful. So, Sherri, one question I'm sure all of our guests are interested in is when you say that you created a universe within you, what does that exactly mean?
Yeah. So I had my awakening where I started to realize there was a lot more to this reality than what meets the eye back in 2006 ish. And I'm just a curious person by nature. And I've always struggled with meditation, traditional meditation, where it's like, still your mind and don't think about anything, when all I want to do is create. Like, I have this innate desire to create and to experience. So I attempted meditation many times, and it just never worked in the way that I had read about it to be. And I would, though, start to go within and see things visually with my inner eye. And I wasn't sure exactly what to call it. Just I would have experiences with my eyes closed. And I realized very quickly that the things I was experiencing in my inner world would then be reflected in my external world. And I was like, what is this? Like, this is so cool that I've found this place within me. And I will refer to it as intuition. As I've evolved too, when I use the word God, I mean source, like the source of all that is, which I have connected directly to. So for me, it's important to cut out the middleman. I don't see any reason to have to go through someone else to get directly to source. I found source within me. And because of that, I find all my answers within first. I source everything, every problem that pops up in my external world, I immediately take it within and I workshop it from within me. And then if I need to align with someone external that can assist me, then those people just show up in my life. But I believe that we're all sovereign beings and that we're here to remember who we actually are. And that remembrance comes from within. It does not, I've never found anything outside of me that can get me to that same place.
Beautiful said. I love when you said no middleman, just go directly to source yourself.
Yeah.
That's kind of what led me to leave my body as well, was to just, okay, I'm just going to go directly to it and see what it is for myself. So now when you say that you're able to see things when you go within, so you visually see these things.
Yes. And the more I do that, actually, let's do something with all of you just really quick. I want everyone watching right now to just close your eyes. Just close your eyes. Now I want you to imagine that there's a ball in front of you. And I want you to bend down and I want you to pick the ball up and hold it in your hand and feel the ball. Now bounce the ball. Now open your eyes. Now in the chat box, type in what color the ball was, what size the ball was, if it was a basketball or I didn't tell you what to see.
It was a little blue ball.
Yours was a blue ball. Okay. I don't know how to read the chat thingy on here. I'm going to let you guys be the little pros. And
Impulse Savannah says it was blue. Top Only says it was white. Harry Shannon says it blue. It was a big ball. Taleti says it was a blue ball.
yes. See, you're all going to experience something. I didn't tell you what to see.
A blue rubber ball. Yeah. Small blue ball. Mr. Bentley's. Yeah.
So you
says purple.
Have the capacity to use your inner eye to experience things. And that's something that can be developed over time. And the more curious you are about things, we're talking from the micro to the macro situations or things in your life. Literally anything you take within, and you will have an experience. Your soul is just there waiting to communicate with you. And I'm telling you, when you open those gates, like when I say cut out the middleman, I'm talking priest, pastor. If you want to go to source, you go directly to source. Mediums, not to hurt anyone's feelings if you're a medium and that's your thing. Okay. But everyone is capable of connecting to people in spirit or animals in spirit. Like there is no reason to use another person. Even people that come to see me for my practice, people call me a healer. I wouldn't call myself a healer. I am literally just a facilitator. I can read the body, or read the energy of the body. The body communicates with me, tells me what's going on. I believe every single human body is capable of healing itself. Now, there are extreme situations like tragic accident or something. You have to go to the hospital and they have to help put a limb back together, right? But your body knows how to heal itself given the right conditions. And your body will also tell you exactly what you need when you go within. Example of this, I did this the other day because I was just feeling slightly off. I go within, I close my eyes. I ask my body. It was like immediate. I was mineral deficient in something, and it was either iron or copper. I can't remember which one. It told me exactly what I was deficient in. And then it told me that I need to be eating some lentils. I've never made lentils. I've never bought lentils. Like I was like, oh, okay, cool. So come out. I immediately look it up because I still think this shit is cool. That there's a part of me that knows exactly what I need. And I've never bought lentils, anything. I look it up and sure enough, it was high in the copper or whatever I needed. So went to the store and got myself some lentils and here we are. It's like every single thing you need is going to be answered from within yourself. You just have to shut out the external world and you have to go within yourself and get quiet. And there are ways to do this, but I assure you, the more time you spend developing your inner realm, the easier life in the external world will be. You'll be more responsive rather than reactive because you'll pause and you'll realize everything stems from within. There's nothing outside of you that didn't happen first from within you. So if you realize that the external world is just an echo of something that's going on in your inner state, then you know that all you have to do is shift from the inner state and then your external world will shift. Sometimes it's immediate. I've had things manifest and come into my life. Either a person will call me, I'll be thinking about something. It's very, very specific or in need of something very, very specific. And the next thing I know, like an example would be, I live in a place where there are harsh winters and I didn't realize that I was out of salt for my driveway. And when I did realize, it was a little too late because the driveway was already covered in ice. And I just had the thought like, oh shit, I forgot to get ice melt. That would be really helpful to have right now. But I couldn't leave my driveway. Literally, I would have slid off and yeah, it wouldn't have been good. So I just go about my day and I walk to go to my office. This was in my old house. I walked to go into my office and something catches my eye outside my front door, and I look out there and there's a bag of ice melt on my step. And I was like, that's crazy. I didn't tell anyone I needed ice melt. I'm not sure who would have drove over to my house and dropped that off because no one knew I needed it. But like that kind of thing is normal in my life. It's like, oh, I need something, and then it's there. And it's a pretty awesome way to live. And I would highly encourage all of you to try it out. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. That is so perfectly said. It really is. And that is in such alignment with what we talk about out of our body. So when you had us close our eyes and picture a blue ball, all of us just created that blue ball. And if we were out of our body, we would have physically had that blue ball in our hand.
Well, and for you, it was a blue ball. I didn't say what color to see.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Ball.
My ball wasn't blue. My ball was yellow.
Your ball was yellow. Okay. See, that's the cool part. It's like, I know that it's not me telling people what to experience, because I can guide people within, but I do not tell them what to experience, which is why when my clients come to see me and we're doing some kind of generational healing, some generational work that needs to come up, I'm not telling them what to see. Like, I will guide them within, and I can help hold the space for that while they have their own experience. But their shifts are so much more profound because they're not like, oh, is this woman like reading my mind? Is she blah, blah, blah? It's like, no, you're having your own experience. You're having your own aha and breakthrough because it is your experience yourself, you know?
That brings to memory. The other day I had a one-on-one because this lady, she's like, hey, listen, I really need your help. Like, I am trying to come out of my body and there's all this that's getting in my way. I can't sleep. So she fell under fear because, again, her own thinking. But me knowing that she's projecting her internal into the exterior, I told her, look, tonight I'm going to help you, be there with you, and you will go to sleep fine for the first time in a long time. And purposely, I decided not to. I said, no, I used the sugar pill. She really thought I was going to put my energy all the way in England to help her out. I could, because that's a gift that we have. We can connect with people and we can help. But I just wanted to give her that empowerment. So the next morning, she's like, I don't know why you did. It's one of my one-on-ones. I don't know why you did. You have magic, blah, blah. I said, I did nothing.
You were the placebo.
I set the framework for her to do it for herself. Now she's thinking, oh, I'm protected. Nothing's going to happen to me. I got a powerful soul here with me, blah, blah, blah. Yes, yourself.
Yeah, yourself.
Yourself. And she couldn't believe it. I said, I promise you, the moment we hung up, I sent you my love and I really gave you the best wish for you to go to sleep, but I was not there. I was working. I wasn't there. It wasn't me. It was you. So I love that experiment with the ball because everyone joined in such a simple practice that is telling you right now, right here, right now, you just created this color ball. You just created it. So go within and do it. That's amazing. It's really amazing. I'm a little, because I seen the ball, I'm like, what the just happened? All of it. Like, we didn't plan this. She's like, close your eyes. So I'm in my creation. He had his blue ball. I have a guy there in the comments had a white with silver, gold, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wonderful experiment, Sherri. Wonderful demonstration for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. I'd love to do some more of those.
Want to do another one right now? I'll take you all within. We do something else. Would you like to?
Yeah. Sure. If you have another exercise, sure. Those were a lot of fun, and let's get the
All right.
chat involved.
As long as you're not operating machinery, please use common sense. If you're in a place where you can safely close your eyes, please do so now. With your eyes closed, I want you to allow your body to settle in. Comfortable position. Now, allow yourself to take a deep breath. Feel your shoulders relax, your jaw soften, and turn your awareness inward. You'll begin to notice a serene outdoor space forming around you. Let it unfold however it wants. There's no right or wrong, just you and your inner world. As you look around, you'll notice a fruit tree. Go ahead and approach the tree. Can you make out what type of fruit is growing? If you'd like, take a piece of fruit and you're welcome to eat it. Now, off into the distance, you're going to see an animal. Allow it to come closer. Don't worry, this animal is kind, loving, and deeply connected to your soul. It knows you well. Go ahead and greet them and ask if they have a message for you. I'll give you a second to be with them. Now, let them know you'll be back soon to visit them. Now, your soul has placed a gift behind that fruit tree. I want you to go behind the fruit tree, collect your gift, see if you can make out what that gift is. Now allow the meaning of the gift to land in your heart. Now when you're ready, bring your awareness back to your body and gently open your eyes. Now, in the chat box, I'd like you to write what type of fruit tree you saw. And then, how about you guys? What kind of fruit tree did you have?
This is going to be interesting. Impulse says she's seen an apple tree.
I made my own fruit tree. It's a mix between tangerines and cherries.
Ooh.
And I cheated because I already know my beast. People who follow me know that I have a beast. And as soon as he said an animal was approaching, I was like, whoa.
I thought of your beast. But I seen a deer. Yeah, we got tons of fruit. So we got apple trees, oranges, lemon trees, honey crisp apple tree. That's specific. Nothing. A pear,
Yeah.
apple, and then he's seen a snake, pineapples, cherries, pears. Impulse seen a deer, mangoes. Yeah, so we got a bunch of.
Okay.
My tree was an ever forming fruit. JR said that's interesting.
Ooh.
My tree was it was like a big tree, or a big fruit. I don't know what it was. It was somewhere between like an apple or a mango.
Okay.
but it tasted very juicy.
Okay. Good. Good.
Mine too. It's so weird.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I see we
It's
have
amazing.
apple, peach, and then now some people are mentioning what their animals were: a lion, a wolf, red fox. Okay. All of that has meaning. So everything in your inner world has significance. And if you haven't already had experience with that animal, for some people, it might be a pet, either in body or in spirit. If your animal gave you a message and you feel comfortable sharing with everyone, you're welcome to share what message your animal gave you. But if you're curious, if it's an animal and you're like, I don't know where that animal came from, I'm not sure what the meaning of that is, you can look up spirit animal meaning, and I'm pretty sure there will be some significance to whatever you read and what you're experiencing in your life right now. So just look up red fox spirit animal meaning, and you'll get a response. And you'll know because you'll feel it. Like you'll know if you read it and you're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I'm going through. And that makes so much sense. You can gather that.
That's amazing.
And then your gifts. I want to know what your gifts were. What gift did your soul leave you?
Mine was so when I approach it, I think it's a male. But when I approached him, he told me something very specific that I'm not gonna share. But when I looked behind the tree, it was satisfaction, and it was a specific thing that I asked for today, which is weird, but it was like, you'll have the satisfaction to see your creation, and it was pretty amazing because once we see it in real life play out, I'll tell you all that was it.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
It's amazing. I'm a little weirded out right now.
I love it. Okay, a magic glowing rainbow in a box. Gift was a bunny rabbit in a box. So sometimes the gift is something that you're like, oh, what is this? I'm so curious. Like maybe your gift, I'm just trying to see if anyone else, a beautiful box with a seashell in it. The one, Dandy, I believe. Sorry, this is really small on my screen. If there's a seashell, what would I do if I had a seashell in my hand? I would put it up to my ear and see what I hear, So you can go back in to your space as soon as this live is over, because, we don't want you to leave right now. So, hang here with us until this is done. And then if you want to go back within, and if you're curious what your gift actually means, maybe your gift was a key. So then you go back in and you're curious and you're like, what does the key unlock? Take me to, what do I need to know about the key or the seashell? Go back in and take your seashell and hold it up to your ear. And I guarantee there's a message that your soul has for you. And you just have to be curious like a child, We've all it's like we grow up and we forget what it's like to be curious and be childlike. And I believe that's part of the reason why I spend so much time within, because I'm so curious just by nature. I'm just so curious, and I want to take it all within and understand it and explore all of the realms within me. And I'm also very curious about the OBE experience. I'm excited for that too.
So real quick, Sherri, guide us real quick through your process, right? So I see no one in the comments say that he couldn't visualize anything, and I am also a person that I don't have huge visuals, but I have knowings.
Yes.
And I trust them. So it doesn't necessarily show up, at least in my experience, as a visual, though I have many visuals, but for the most part, it's a feeling. So can you take us through your process?
So if a person is live listening to this and you're like, oh, I had my eyes closed, but I didn't see anything, but I felt like there was a cat there, or I felt like the tree was an apple tree. You have to trust that. And the more you develop this inner landscape, the greater your gifts will come online, your clear audience, your ability to hear. I hear my soul speak from within. I hear what I would call the voice of God, source. I can hear God speak audibly. I can hear, I've from the time I've spent within, I've developed these other abilities, which we all have. There's not a person that doesn't have these abilities. Everyone has these abilities. It's just whether or not you've spent time honing in on them. So for some people, it's a clear knowing. You know something, and it defies logic. That is from within. So you might just have a knowing that something is there. For some of us, we're very visual. For me, a lot of times when I have my eyes closed, I can see it kind of play out like a movie would, like I'd be looking at a projector or something. I see it visually like that. And because I've been doing this so long, I can hold awareness in both spaces. So I know we were going to talk a little bit about ETs, and that's a fun conversation, right? Well, I've had the presence of other beings in my space. And it's not that I see them with my eyes open. I just know they're there. And then when I start tuning into them, then I can hear them. They'll communicate with me through, it's like telepathically, they share things with me and I understand things. So I've had experience with all sorts of things. Oh, that reminds me too, because it was right on the title here of the fairy conversation. I feel like we need to discuss that. So when you ask, to answer the actual question, how do I go within? Exactly what I just did for you guys. I just guided you within. It is literally that. Yeah. Close your eyes, you go within. Now, I have developed different spaces within me from going within. And an example of that would be if you are a creative person and you need a creative space, maybe you're a writer, maybe you're an architect, maybe you're an engineer, you can close your eyes and you create a workshop within. It's literally like an office space within you, and you create it. You say, okay, well, I'd like there to be a desk in my office space, and then you create a desk in your office space. And then things will just start to appear, or you create them, because we are co-creators. Like, so we couldn't help. Like, we're all creators. So if you're like, I'm not creative, I'm not artistic. Oh, yes, you are. You're here on Earth. You couldn't be here if you weren't creative. Like, you are a creator. You are literally co-creating with Source right now, or you wouldn't be here. So tap into it, tune into it.
That's so beautiful.
Does that answer the question?
I think it answers the question for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was going to go as far as to say, Sherri, when you were walking us through that, it was so peaceful and heartfelt. Like, you should create some meditations for people.
I do. I have a course that I've created. I've guided people within. I'm actually in the process of recreating YOUniverse Within course to teach people how to do this for the micro things and the macro things. We're talking about big things, you guys. I recently, so my mom has passed, my grandma has passed, my great grandma has passed, and I have, we're all human and we all have belief systems that need to be upgraded, right? Like, we're here. It's like, okay, I know this is my last time on Earth. I've had that message for many, many years. And I'm like, okay, if this is my last go here and I have 2 children, like, I am ready to bust through whatever limiting beliefs and traumas and, all that bullshit that we've picked up along the way. Like, I'm ready to bust through it. Right. And I had an extremely challenging childhood. And I know I chose that. I know my soul chose to have those experiences. That being said, when you go within, this is about radical responsibility. There is no one outside of you. There is no one to blame. You literally, when you take radical responsibility and you go within yourself and you're like, I'm willing to look at it. whatever it is, I'm willing to look at it. I'm willing to go to the root of whatever this thing is. And if it's generational, I'm willing to feel it so future generations don't have to. And we're talking, when we do this stuff individually, it ripples out on a collective consciousness level. We change consciousness when we awaken from within. So I was recently doing something on a wealth wound, money. Like, I grew up in a pretty poverty situation, and I was like, okay, this is not something that I intend to pass on to my children. And I just was guided to go within, and my mom was there, my grandma was there, my great grandma was there, and they were holding space for me. And they were like, I mean, it was a real, very vivid experience. And I actually had a fire going, like, in that real life, whatever real life is, in my external world. And I went deep within, and I was just like, okay, I'm ready to feel this for all of them. And I did, and they brought up all kinds of things which are really not necessary to share here, but things that they experienced and that I was experiencing, and memories and all the stuff. And I was feeling it, and then I was feeling it for the collective, just this dense feeling of scarcity and fear and not enoughness. And that's such a lie, because we come from source. It's unlimited. Where we come from, there is no lack. It's such an illusion. So I was having this breakthrough, and then I opened my eyes, and the fire just like goes crazy. It was awesome. And then I asked my mom, my grandma, my great grandma, I was like, what do you want to experience through me that you weren't able to do when you were here on earth? And I was expecting some material thing. Oh, I want to go on a vacation here, because my family didn't take vacations. Like, there was no money to do that kind of thing. So I thought for sure they would be like, oh, I'd like to see this through you, or experience whatever. No, you know what they wanted to experience through me? Relief. Presence with their children, not fearing about money and bills and all the nonsense. They were just like, we just want you to be fully present with your children, to sleep at night not having a worry about bills or any of that. Like, we want to experience relief through you. We want to experience what it feels like to have your heart be free and open and receptive, because I could tell that there were things trying to come into my life to bless me, that because of any fear, scarcity, lack, illusions, had blocked my heart off from being able to receive those things. And all they wanted to do was just like have me relax and be present and not worry or be stressed, and feel and embody freedom and abundance and all of that now. Because when we shift from within, then we magnetize. What we seek is also seeking us. And when we relax and we can embody all that is the truth, then all that is comes right to us. With, not that we don't have to do any, we have to walk the path, right? We have to then open our eyes and like take inspired action, but we don't take action out of fear or force or manipulate or make deals with the devil to try to get something in our life. No, we remember who we are, and then we walk the path, and the path lights up, and the people show up in our lives. So when we talk these talks about like frequency and quantum field, that's all like real, but let's make it practical too. And I hope this is helping.
I want to, because I 100% felt the energy of that conversation, and I want us to all take a minute to process that, because I was meditating today, and just listen to this so that you allow it to do what it does, right? I was meditating with some friends today, and we were connecting, and the lady next to me, when the meditation was over, she told me the same exact thing that you experienced. She said, I went, because she exits her body too, and she said, I met my mom and my grandma. So one time I was healing through writing, and I met my ancestors. And the reason that is happening, my friends, and I want you guys to sit with this. Earth is healing all of it. All the lies that were covered are coming to the surface. There's nothing that is going, no stone will remain unturned. So what's happening is, the moment we decide to remember, the true self is going to kick up, and not only kick up your story, but it's going to heal all of humanity that was subject to those lies. So take a moment and let this be a lesson for healing, because the thing is that the coming generations are not going to experience anything other than abundance. Abundance is the state of being of the soul. And when you listen to a conversation like this, I'm telling you, my whole room just, it was, I don't know if you felt that, Andrea, but when she was talking, it was a very strong message that was being delivered. And if you didn't hear it that way, I'm letting you know that your work right now is healing not only you, but it's healing the past wounds that humanity have experienced under these systems of control.
Yeah. This is an excellent stage or break off point. So, Ben, when you asked me if I felt it, I definitely did, and I felt it out of my body as well, right? So me and Sherri, we've been in contact, for some time now, and she asked me to see if what she was experiencing within was real and from the out of body perspective, and I can tell you it 100% is. And what she's doing is creating dimensional spaces on the other side that become physical, right? As you know, all of our thoughts become physical on the other side. But also, in doing so, she's also exercising her muscle to connect with beings on the other side. So when she's there, her consciousness is really in these dimensional spaces, and beings are able to come in and communicate with her, and she's able to relay that information back. So when she said that her mom, her grandma, and great grandma were there telling her, like, they were really there. And so she's directly bringing messages in from the other side as well. Yeah, so I did feel it. I certainly felt it for sure.
And honestly, it's really nice to have the confirmation too, because it's like my inner world, my universe within feels so much more real at times than my external world. And to have someone who leaves their body confirm that which I've experienced from within is really amazing. And there are few people, because I have experiences with my eyes open too, that are somewhat unexplainable in other ways. And I keep a lot of it to myself because, well, aside from who am I going to tell that I had, dragon beings come and hit my house to get my attention in the external world?
Hold on. So let's get into some of your experiences from within. I think this is a great opportunity. First, let's start with when you were a child.
Let's start with that, because that's where it kind of all began, which I believe that we're all, when we are children, babies, toddlers, we're still connected because the veil is still so thin. We haven't been, there are still distortions, but they're not embedded like they are when we get older. So when I was young, my sister and I had an imaginary friend. She was like a little fairy type friend. And my sister and I could both see her, which my mom found very fascinating, because my mom would come into our bedroom and she'd open the door and knock our friend over, and we would both yell at my mom at the same time for knocking her over. Or we would be watching cartoons and my mom would come sit on the sofa and we would yell at her at the same time that she just sat on Shubi as her name. So we're like, Mom, get up, you just sat on Shubi. Or she'd sit down at our tea party and she'd sit on Shubi and we would both yell at her. So my mom was like, they can both see this being And my mom never once said that it wasn't real or anything. She just would like, she was curious what all of that meant. And then Shubi just went away, right? And for many years, until actually very, very recently, I went within for, I don't know how many years now, forever. And I have never connected with Shubi until recently. And it was honestly inspired by you guys and like this validation of these other beings being so real. So I connected with Shubi from within, and my first question to her was, why did you leave? Because I could see her with my eyes open. And she said, I never left you. Your ability to perceive me changed. And I was like, damn, that's true. And I correlated. I remember when she left, it was when my grandpa passed away, and my mom was really devastated and had to go to the funeral. We didn't go, but it was the first time that we experienced death, which we also know is not real, right? But it felt very real. My mom was devastated and having this experience and not realizing that my grandpa was then just in spirit and still very much alive and, you know, in a way. And that was when the Shubi door got shut. And I'm thinking she left, and no, she was like, nope, I never left. It was just your ability to perceive me had changed and shifted. And I was like, oh, wow, that makes so much sense. So that is
first. Just to touch on that, that is such an amazing story, because a lot of times, and that's confirmation for a lot of people, because I'm sure a lot of people have had similar experiences when they were a child as well. And it's always said children are more in tune with the other side. Yeah. So that's a perfect example and confirmation, because now you've seen her again and she confirmed that it's just your perception that changed, but she never left.
My perception that changed. She's like, no, I'm still alive and well. And that being said, too, now that I have my own children, when they were young, they remembered past lives. My youngest daughter would come to me, and when she was little, just old enough to talk, and she would say things like, you're so much nicer than my other mommy. And I was like, oh, your other mommy? Because I knew about past lives, and I knew that all of this is real, right? So I never shut that down. I would just get curious and ask her questions. And she would come to me and she's like, it's my other mommy's birthday today. Can we bake her a cake or make her a card? And we would do that. And I would honor that part of her because I knew she was remembering things. And I had so many, we don't even have enough time to go into all those conversations. Like, we had so many cool experiences, and I was just always open and receptive and curious about those because I knew the veil is so thin for them. And that's so intriguing. So
we have a question that go back to the first topic when we were talking about the relatives and stuff, and I think it's worth addressing. It says, sorry, a little confused with our relatives who died, are in total bliss on the other side. What would they need healing through us?
I seen that question as well. So you are in total bliss, right? But you don't get to experience these things in human form, right? It's a different type of feeling on the other side. When you're here in forgetfulness, in this density of realm one, this is the only place you have to experience those things. So when Sherri said that her parents may not have been able to be fully present with their and this is the only place you can even have kids. So to be able to experience fully being there with your kids, you can experience that through other souls, because everything's recorded, everything's feeling, right? So they're able to now experience what it is like, and through their own bloodline, what it is like to be able to be fully present with their kids, to be able to, have those experiences. So it's not that they're not in total bliss on the other side. It's that they never got to have the human experience in that, if that makes sense. And pause, if that makes sense, let me know.
That was my interpretation too of what they were doing through me, because I know that they're in other realms. In fact, this is a good time to ask you guys. So my mom, I was connecting with my mom, I don't know, it was probably a year ago. And her energy felt more refined. Like she had grown and developed in her consciousness because she passed away in Earth years. It was in 2012 when she passed. So it felt as if her consciousness had, like, she's still grown and developed from the other side. Does that?
Yeah,
align?
that's where I was, and the way that I was going to address it was in that way. You know, just because we move into other realms doesn't mean that we are not still in a developmental stage, and there are things that need to be worked before we understand the next stage in creation. That's just my understanding with the wisdom that I acquire and the things that I know. But the memories still here. You know, they were a creation, and they had an impact on that life, and not only on that life, but remember that everything gets transferred in the cellular level. That's the way that we are. That's why the DNA is there. That's why they can really see who your mother and all that, and that is part of the tinkering that was done to human. You know, human weren't meant to be like this, you know, but part of the tinkering was to keep us attached to our memories, you know, and those memories of poverty, all those memories, we unfortunately we carry them until we, you know, gain our remembrance, and we realize that, you know, that was part of the story here on earth, and that's not who we truly are. And then you start acting like that, and then the healing happens. So yeah, they said that, you know, that there's levels to this shit. You still have to continue to learn different. Even when you get out, there's always a greater level of creation that you will reach. Always, it's a creation never stops. You know, it's no perfection. It's only experience.
Yeah, and that goes to like the respect factor on the other side is experience or wisdom, really. And how do you gain wisdom? Through experience, right? So the more experiences you have, that gives you more perceptions to see things, right? More angles to see things. If we all look at something, you can see it from many different angles, right? And even on the other side, it's even more so, because now you can see it from every physical angle, but you can also see it through every time angle. So you can go past, for it's all perception.
We have
very true.
We have a couple cool comments that I also wanna shout them out. And there's somebody on this chat that manifested a lump of silver, and then we have Tamara, who used to redirect the mosquitoes. And the reason when they were little, the reason I'm pointing them out is because you are still that person. You just believe you couldn't do it. That's the only difference, is that you believe because you were conditioned. You know, once we leave innocence behind, we enter into the dimension of the deceit. But while you're innocent, you still haven't gotten into that dimension where you could be deceived. So go back to that childlike wonder. You know, what if I dictate? What if this is true, that I can dictate my whole, you know, experience?
I promise you still can. I promise you still can. If you did it as a child, you can still do it now. Try it. Just go play, but do it in a playful way.
Playful. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Creation. And when you say playful, that kind of is what, when Darius mentions a lot of times, you create from the heart, right? That when you do it playful, that is what we mean when we say you do it from the heart, because that is the foundation of all creation. You know, you do it in that aspect for sure.
We just have taken this experience too seriously, people. We really have taken it, you know, and I don't blame you. I don't blame me. You know, when you grow up in school, they telling, you know, from the time you get to listen, somebody's telling you what you are to do and what you're not to do, taking your sovereignty because they did it to our parents, you know, and it's a system of control. So when we decide to take our sovereignty back through our decision making, you have to really get on your balls and be like, no, it's done my way, and that's that. You know, that's why Andre is staying freaking for however long in Neo Soul. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm not going back. No, I'm not going back, bro. I want to stay here. You know, and that's the same way, you know, we dictate our reality. You really have to take your power back. You have to. It's no other way around. Humanity is calling for all of y'all, for all of us, to take our power back now. It's just make the decision to do it your way, your style, with your voice, with your experience, with your story. And that's that.
Authenticity is the single most important thing you can be doing right now. Don't try to mimic anyone else. You go into yourself and you get so in touch with who you actually are, and then you let that authenticity just exude from you. And if there are blocks along the way, one recent one that I had when I was going within, in this external world, I was really feeling this energy of being too much. And I was like, oh, I feel like I'm being too much. Where is this coming from? So I went within and I said, when's the first time I felt like I was too much? I was taken to a memory inside of my mom's womb. My mom's womb. You know why? Because my mom was 16 when she got pregnant with my sister, had her at 17. 3 months after my sister was born, she got pregnant with me. 17 with a baby, pregnant with her second child. She may have felt like it was going to be a little too much. Like I was going to be a little too much. Not intentional. She wasn't trying to hurt me. She was having her own experience, a very real feeling experience. And I was taken back to that memory, that feeling inside of my mom's womb. And then my mom, it was this whole experience. I had that thing. And then my mom was like, it was never about you. I never meant to make you feel that way. And it was like this whole, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. We healed this thing. And then it was more than that, but I'm summarizing for this.
Yeah.
And then I came out and I felt more me than I've ever felt. And I was like, okay, I'm not too much. Like, oh, that was a whole thing, you know? And no wonder I carried around this thing. Or when I was young, I was so shy. Like I didn't want to be seen. I was terrified. There was no way I would have ever been able to be on camera or anything like that. This has been years of working on myself to heal some of the stuff that I picked up. Those were frequencies that my mom never intended for them to impact my life in the way that it did. She was very unaware. She was literally just a kid having kids, right? So
yeah.
This is how powerful it is, though, to go within. Because then once I realized, I feel more myself than I've ever felt. It's like more of my soul signature is able to come through this experience because I went and identified where the disturbance,
you were able to realize that it's not necessarily you that's too much. It was just perceived that way because of the situation.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. And back to what you said about authenticity. So the highest frequency that you can hold, when we talk about the highest frequency to access the other realms on the other side, what is it? It's unconditional love, integrity, and authenticity. It's a combination of these three feelings. Those are the three closest words that I can put on the highest frequency. And why? Because integrity, you do things with, in alignment with the highest good of all things, right? That also ties into unconditional love, right? And authenticity, because you actually have to be these things, right? And be true and be real, because you can't fake anything, right?
Well, I'm going to bring that thought even a little bit I'm going to agree with you, and I'm even going to take it a little further. I think authenticity is the one, because unconditional love, everything functions in that. That's the sauce, right? That is your job as a soul is to be authentic. Is to say, this is me and I'm standing here. You can't move away from unconditional love when you're authentic, when you really, really embrace your authentic. And the reason I want to stress that is because I also, I've never been shy, but I was always insecure, very insecure because, and that's the reason we promote the out of body state, so that you guys get to, take a peek of who you truly are. And if you're someone like Andre, you'll see a lot more because he's out all day, every day. But life here, the InBody, this and I see that you guys are putting questions in the comments about the outer body, but this life is always going to grant you the opportunity to find your authenticity. Jay Shar, you say that people don't like it when you're not off, when you're authentic. So what? They don't have to live with you. You have to live with you, and you really have to embrace the true you at all costs.
You'll be with yourself the rest of your life. And when you start being authentic, it's very likely other people will start to leave your experience because they were never resonating with you. They were resonating with a false version of you. So when you fully embrace who you are, and I will tell you, the number one thing that I've experienced within me is the need for solitude. You can't have someone sitting there next to you while you're going within yourself you're not pulling someone into that world with you. You need to be okay being alone with yourself. And when you do, I will forewarn you, solitude becomes very attractive. And
I know.
For it.
That's why I'm by myself right now. Yeah.
And you might find that you really like yourself. And then when that happens, you will start to attract new friends, such as these guys right here on here with me, where I'm just like, oh, you guys are new to authentic. My life and my world. And I feel completely accepted in their presence. I don't feel like they're judging me because I am just fully me. And you'll never be too much for someone who can't get enough of you, including yourself.
Very true. Very true. And Jay Shar, when you mention authentic, people don't like when you're authentic here. Even with me, I see people commenting things like how I'm too upfront with things, and maybe how I deliver the message might not resonate with them. And like, I don't care because I'm being authentic to myself, right? That's just how I am. And if it doesn't resonate if you don't resonate with the frequency I'm bringing, that's fine, because there's plenty of other people here in this world that you probably do resonate with, right? So just got to find your people, right? And you do that by being authentic, by showing yourself, by emitting that frequency that you are, right? And then naturally other people that resonate with that frequency will come to you.
And let me add to that, because there is no expectations to who you truly are. Check this out. Tomorrow is uncertain. This very second, right now, we're here having this podcast, and we can the power grid can go off and we're done. It's not and never be the same. Nothing is certain. The person that's in front of you, the expectation that you have of who you need to be is false. It's not real. You need to be who you are now and love that. When you love that which you are right this very second, now you have the ability to be vulnerable, to allow others into your experience, regardless of how they feel or what they think. Because guess what? Now I know that I am, in fact, worthy of loving. Nobody ever, you will never experience love until you love you. It doesn't matter how it comes your way. You have to, and this is where I found freedom. I found freedom in a jail cell, in fucking segregation. I had to really be okay with that criminal and say, you know what? I love you because mom didn't love you. God don't love you because you're going to hell because you're a bad boy. The guy next to you don't love you. So you're going to have to love you. And when I loved that guy was able to love everything. Then you start seeing that, you know what? I'm lovable. They lovable. They lovable. They're lovable. I can love myself. I can love them. And then, and it's not a superficial type love. It's you enter the heart of the creator, which is compassion. You can't judge. You start seeing people and again, I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect here. All we're saying is you get to experience unconditional love while on earth. And that only happened when you're okay with the fucked up individual that you are. When you are. And then eventually that fucked up individual is going to say, you know what? This doesn't line up with integrity. I really want to work on this. And then you'll have the strength because that self-love sustain the journey. Because it's not going to be easy to look at yourself and say, you know what? Some shit got to change. And it's going to take discomfort, and it's going to take looking at yourself in the mirror, and it's going to take discipline. But you are doing it out of a place of, you know what? Even though I'm not paired up with the expectation, I am being loving to myself and being compassionate to yourself.
And if you're here, you've probably watched near-death experience videos if you found OBEs. And a lot of people talk about their life review, right?
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that, yeah.
I have had life reviews from within where I don't have to wait until I die to go review things. It's like, no, I consciously choose to go within and review aspects of my life where I had a lower consciousness. I didn't have all the information, and I made decisions from that place. And then I'm able to go infuse love into that, or I'm able to see it from a different perspective, maybe someone else's perspective. And then it's like it heals and it gets alchemized from within, and then it ripples out into your actual life here, so you can have a deeper, richer in-body experience, because I don't believe we have to suffer here. I believe it's very possible to live a beautiful, happy life here on earth in your body. And if you're using out-of-body experience to escape reality, I'm going to encourage you to just, that's not the trick. You wanted to be here so bad. If you could only remember how bad you wanted to be here on earth when you're outside of earth and as a soul, and you're just like ready, like, let me in, put me in this game. I got this thing figured out. And then you get here and then you forget all of it. And you're on this journey to remember. And if you just get curious and playful and you realize that it is so magical and wonderful to be here, all you have to do is ask your soul to just give you more insight on why you chose to come here. I asked my soul recently because I know my purpose in terms of my career right now. But I asked my soul, like, okay, well, why? Why did we come here? And my soul was like, just for the experience. Not good, no bad. Your soul's not judging. It's just to be here. Just to be here, because Earth is shifting. And it was like this feeling of excitement, kind of like you've won the cosmic lottery to be here on Earth. And it's like, but fuck, I didn't know how hard it was going to be. It's so dense here. And your soul is not experiencing it that way. So it's like,
you're and Sherri, we were picking up from the same field or something, because that was the same direction I was going to take it as well. One of the major reasons why we say these things is because it will help in the overall view. If you implement the things that we talk about in your life here, it will help your overall experience, even on the other side, even after this life. Because if you're able to accept yourself here, your life review will be a lot more easier. Everything will be easier, because if you're able to do this here, which is the hardest place in all of creation, and solve your issues here, it will be so much better. And your soul always has the big picture in mind, right? Here we're very microscopic in our view. We only tend to see the little things here, but your soul always has the overarching picture in mind. More so, like, my soul doesn't just have Andre's best interest at heart. My soul has everybody's best interest at heart, right? That's one way you can put it. So Sherri, so I would like to get into some of your other experiences by going within,
Okay.
because
Which
I am
one?
sure they I am sure they, you know, and I've seen these things myself too, and they are very real. So um let's talk about some of the beings that you were able to come in contact with through going within.
Okay. So let's talk about, do we want to talk about dragons or the giant experience or the ETs? Which one shall
Oh
we dive?
wow.
Okay.
Pick one. Pick one. Pick one.
Okay.
We'll go through
So,
them all. How about that?
all right. Let's talk about the dragon one that was more recent. I was deep within, and typically when I go within, I like to do so in the bathtub for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the water or whatever, but I'm able to go really deep within me. And I didn't go in with any expectation. I love it. It feels like going home, guys. So I just love that space. So I was really open, and there was a dragon there. And I knew that this dragon, we had a soul connection. It wasn't even, I didn't question anything. I was just like, oh, I remember you. And we went and had an experience, and it was so beautiful and peaceful. And I just felt like it was like a soul mate. And then in my external world, I just go about my business and living my life. And it was winter, and it sounded like someone ran into my house. It felt like it rattled the house. I was like, what the hell just happened? So I run downstairs, and I run outside, and I'm like, what just hit my house? And there was nothing. My kid was even like, Mom, what was that? Like, did lightning hit? Did something hit our house? I was like, I have no idea. There was nothing outside. So then when my kids went to bed, I was like, oh, I'm definitely going within tonight. So I went within. I was in the tub, and I went within, and there was a dragon being that came to get my attention in the external world, to force me to go within, to go have an experience with these dragons. And I won't get into all the details of it, but it was one of the most beautiful and profound experiences. And it was like, okay, so my child experienced that, right? In my external world, I went within, had my dragon experience again. And then a year later, one of my close friends came and stayed with me. I don't tell very many people about my dragon realms, right? Because, who,
Yeah. Who's gonna listen?
like,
Yeah.
I'm not looking to get locked up or have my children taken away, because connect with dragons. Okay. So I was like, all right, well, I told a friend of mine, she came to visit me. What do you think we experienced? Another loud thump on my house. And she was like, oh my God, we both go outside. Look, there's nothing outside of my house. She was like, your dragons came back.
That's a fucking dragon.
Dragon.
So let me ask you,
Fucking
Sherri.
dragon.
So were you able to feel the energy of the dragon? Are you able to explain it?
Oh my gosh, guys, like, if I could put this in words, I still, words fall so short to explain the feelings and the visuals and the experience of it. But it was just like an all-knowing and this deep remembrance of just all that is.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's kind of the energy that I when I was around a dragon. I've only been around them maybe one real time, and the energy was like a very knowledgeable but loving, like a fierce loving energy, like
Fiercely,
a fierce loving,
fiercely loving.
Like
Fiercely
they would die
I
to
knew
love you,
they were so loyal. Loyalty is probably
loyal is probably the best word.
Just felt so loyal, like this bond that nothing could sever. And I also knew, one, I can go access past life memories from within, but typically I just allow them to come if there's something that needs to show itself. With the dragon realm, I have spent many lifetimes protecting children in this realm from harm. And I know that the dragons were deeply associated with that mission to protect children and their innocence. So
I was about to ask,
Are-
were they here? Like, did they in the past, were they
it
in
very much
Earth?
felt that way from my experience, is that they were here in this realm and with the
they
purpose
were.
of just
And that's 100% true. They were. They also have their own place, but they were here as well. Like every being was here at one point, right? When everything was open. So they were definitely here. And that's why you see them throughout history. Like the Chinese have the dragon in their history. Even in some dictionaries from like the 1800s and stuff, they mention dragons. I want to say Ernesto had a comment. She says, "Bro, does she consciously go out of her body? Because like your stories match up so much with what we experience out of our
I've
body."
never seen my body laying on the bed. I'm working on
Yeah.
that. But it's like when I do go like to shut my body down and go within, it is a little challenging because I've already created the neural pathways to go within myself and to access my realms from within. So it's like my world is there. My consciousness goes there instantly. I can have my eyes open and be experiencing some things in my inner realm at the same time. So I feel like I'm navigating how to have an out of body without getting sucked into my inner world.
I wonder, Andre, help me out on this. I wonder if, like, and I was just talking about this with Sherri yesterday, but I wonder if her portal is actually within, like her portal to exit is within. Is that a thing?
Well, I'm going to say yes and no, right? Because in order to be out of the body, like how we experience it, the body has to be shut down and you have to leave through soul paralysis in order to be 100% in your soul. Your soul has to be shut down. Now, that doesn't mean that what she's accessing isn't the other side, because the other side is here right now at all times. So she has created something within herself to just access these things, right? Because it's here all the time. And she's found a way to access it from within herself. So the connection is through her, because the only way out is through, right? So the connection, and this is like what Jesus was talking about, right? Like the kingdoms of heaven are within you. Buddha, like all these great masters, this is what they talk about. And she's figured it out. But in order to have a real OBE, your body really does have to be shut down, and you can't really like get out that way. Like I've done it, but it was more so just my consciousness, like astral projection and things like that. But but she, it's still real. It's still very much real. I can tell you that.
For sure.
Yeah. So Sherri, what's another being or another experience that you overwent?
Let's talk about the ETs, because this is pretty fun. So again, laying in my bathtub, relaxing, and I knew, or I just like when I hear things, I'm like, well, if someone else can do it, I can do it too. So I had heard about, I believe it's Stephen Greer's protocol, where you just like get a couple of people together and you give your coordinates, and then you stare up at the sky and a spacecraft appears, right? So I'm laying in my bathtub and I know my coordinates to my house. I mean, I know what direction I was looking out and I know my address, and I closed my eyes. I went within and I was like, here are my coordinates. If it's safe for you to show yourself, that'd be really cool to experience. And I have a window above my bathtub. So I was just staring out my window, and white bright light goes across my window. No, it's not an airplane. I see airplanes fly. I know where the airport is, and I know what an airplane looks like. It was not an airplane. And I was like, oh, damn, that was cool. And I knew it wasn't some falling star, which we can talk about. Table that one, because I am curious what those actually are. But this thing goes across the sky, and I was like, oh, cool. Experience it again. And then I go to New Mexico. I'm in the middle of nowhere in an Airbnb in a hot tub. I'm like, okay, I'll do the same thing. I know the address to where I'm at right now. Give the address. And it was just, the sky was completely clear. Oh, there it goes again. Just straight across the sky. And I was like, oh, cool. I didn't ask it to come closer or anything. I honestly, all I knew was like, oh, I just want to have this experience.
It's confirmation, right?
It's confirmation.
Like, yeah, we're here. We're here. Yeah.
Then I go to North Carolina with my closest friend, and we're standing outside. I do not tell her that I'm doing this. She knows that I've done it, but I did not tell her I was doing it. So I go within, and I'm telepathically communicating this. And we're both just looking at the stars, watching some falling stars, you know. And this craft goes across the sky so slow that she sees it, and she was like, oh my God, you summoned that, didn't you? You're the one who did that, didn't I was like, oh, good. No, I'm not crazy. It's not just me seeing it. So it goes across. And I come back to Iowa, and I have to drive to Missouri to go see some clients. And I'm in my car. I just have the music off. I like to spend a lot of time alone, quiet. And that's when I can hear. When I get quiet, I can really hear. And these ETs just showed up in my car. It wasn't like I could see them with my eyes open. I knew they were there. They made me open the sunroof so they could stick out of the sunroof. And they were so funny. It was like they had me laughing so much that I was crying by the things they were saying and the visuals they were giving me. And they had me turn on certain songs, and then they like dressed up in these songs, and like, anyway, it was absolutely the most entertaining, funny thing that I have experienced. And I was just like, oh my gosh, you guys are hilarious. So the same friend from North Carolina came here to where I live, and she was getting ready to go back to where she was staying. And I said, hey, turn on this song and call the ETs and see if they show up in your car. She did. And they did. They showed right up. She had this whole experience on her way back to where she was staying. And she was just like, oh my gosh, they showed up for me too.
It's amazing. Sherri, so I think we're going to have to meet up in person or sometime, and you're going to have to bring them here. And I'm going to be like, all right, you ready? Let's go on the ship.
Yeah, you're going to see them with your eyes. Then I am going to have mastered the out-of-body experience myself, and I will go visit the craft with you.
I don't know if I've ever shared. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Bam.
What's your take on the galactics? What because I hear that there's some people that talk about how they are all a distortion, and I disagree with that. I think that that there's more. I think that there's more galactics that love humanity and want to share technology, because right now it's being used just to serve the control systems, but there is technology from the galactics that have been just taken and reversed engineered and all that stuff. What's your take on the galactics, real quick? And if on that, I don't know, that question is more for Andre, because go ahead, Andre. Or if you have something, Sherri, please.
Yeah, so I was actually, man, before you said that, I was going to say I never shared this before, but when I say that, like, I remember my past life as an Arcturian, I have this line of blue, they're blue ETs, right? And they come visit me often sometimes. That's the ship that I've been on as well. And they are funny, Sherri, because it's just like here, right? So that funniness that they were trying to communicate with you, that's like, remember us, like, hey, like, we're your friends, like that's that, right? Now the Arcturians they're a very smart race as well. Like they're very in tune from a technological standpoint. They're one of like the more advanced ET races, but they're also fun as well. A lot of people I think when they view these beings and these other races, they view them as like they don't do anything fun, like they still have fun
or whatever.
Yeah, they still have fun as well, and they're the most closest beings to us. And Bam, so to what you were saying as far as the galactics do help. The galactics do help raise consciousness from the human perspective, right? Say you never came out of your body, say you don't know any of this, right? That's more so their mission is just to awaken people to the fact that, hey, it's not just you guys, we're here too, from like the human perspective, right? They do help with that. And yeah, to your other question, there is other technology there that can be used for better purposes than what it's being used for. Like now it's primarily used for war, for military weapons, and it's primarily used for things that we can capitalize on monetarily, such as the chips in the iPhone, such as things of that nature, right? So the government, I mean, and that's all part of the control structure, like you said. But yeah, there is also technology that that can help humanity as well. But in the same sense, we don't have to go that route because all the technology is already within us. We can already heal ourselves. We can already go within and do everything that the technology does. And when you use technology and rely on technology like that, it shuts down your natural abilities more because now you're not relying on your natural abilities. Now you're relying on the technology.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even necessarily like to go down that route. And, you know, maybe 6-8 months ago, I was like, yo, I'm about to create some stuff and you know, engineer some stuff and create some technology to help accent my abilities. But as I got more into it and leave my body more, I realized you don't even have to do that.
You have all abilities from within. That is the message, the core message I've received. And I think this is an important time to mention that I've never had any beings ask me to do anything or try to, I would never say that I channel something because I'm a divine sovereign being. I know I'm multidimensional and I am directly aligned with source. I do not allow anyone or anything to enter my being, to fuck with my field. I am sovereign. And
Yep. And
I bring everything back to source. And I'm like, if this does not align and this does not bring unconditional love,
Yeah.
get the fuck away from me.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, I'm not one for waiting for the right time. The video, I have a video coming on the 10th, and I'm not promoting my shit right now, but it's about purpose. And I just want to, I see it in the comments that somebody wrote, that's exactly what I'm seeing. I want to second Sherri right now because, and I was going to wait because they invited me to the ship the other day. Telepathically, not only, I'm talking about multiple ships. Last night I went out again, it wasn't even dark. And the reason I asked Andre and Sherri about the galactics is because, you know, I have had this for the last 2 weeks, multiple communication with me, and they told me, you know, when you exit your body tonight, you can come on our ship. And I don't know which race
Go
they
with them,
are.
man.
Yeah,
Go
I
with
know. I
them.
told you. I want to.
Yeah.
And
Go.
I'm, you know, there's no fear whatsoever because I know they're, you know, they're the way they communicated with me and and part of what's coming through, it's information that they helping me, you know, connect to.
So this is a good way to think of the alien races, right? I'm going to put it into perspective for everybody because as above, so below, right? Everything's pretty much a mirror of everything, right? So the different ET races can be compared to the different races of humans. Like I'm a black man, Hector, you're Puerto Rican, Sherri, I'm not sure your exact background, but we're all different races, right? The ETs are different races just like that. Only instead of color, they actually appear different as well. So it's not just the color of them that change. It's also their appearance can change too, but they're all the different races, right? Now, with that said, the same way that there can be a Is that your dragon?
Literally just a balloon just popped. Something's here visiting us.
Something's there. Yeah, something is
Literally
there.
just
Yeah.
popped.
I know, Alan.
And
I
You guys
know.
tune in. I'll tune in. We'll see who's here.
yeah, and the same way that there can be a black man part of the control structure, but then there's also a black man here trying to help fight the good fight, right? Is the same way that there's ET races that are part of the control structure, but then another ET in the same race might not be part of that control structure. So you can't
Correct.
classify an entire race just because the people in power, you know, how they are, right? So yeah, I would for sure say go with them, Hector. And
you don't have to give me permission, bro. I'm getting my first class ticket, baby. And I wanted to wait. The reason I came out and I backed up Sherri is I wasn't gonna say anything. I was just listening, but I wanted to wait till I go into the actual ship and you know, because disclosure is here, baby. You know, there's no way of stopping it anymore. The control systems are really, really losing ground with the lies. So, you know, we are, all of us are going to have contact very soon.
Yeah.
I like to call it conscious communication. You can consciously communicate now. That's what telepathy is. And we all have those faculties right now with not just other humans here, insects, plants, ETs, your family, your loved ones, your pets that are in spirit. You can consciously communicate with all of it now. There is nothing limiting you. You have all the technology within you to do all of this right here, right now. It's just a matter of doing it.
Yeah, doing it. That's it. It's not, you know, like I just did. I was going to wait till they brought me to the ship. No, I'm talking about it right now. And, you know, we'll eventually see the ship inside. You know, obviously Andre been there, so that's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and when you go in there, man, it is. Yeah, I've never shared this because, like, I don't like to just talk about my experiences, right? But when you go in there, I didn't even know I was on a ship at first until I got off of it. I thought I was like with them in their realm. That's where I thought I was because their ships are so intense. There's layers, there's different, like these guys are really advanced, man. And so I thought I was just like inside their realm, you know, experience with them. And then it came time for me to leave and I get off a little fucking ball. And I'm like, yo, this whole time I was on a ship. I was like, yo, that's crazy.
That's awesome.
Like, yo, that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it's very cool.
Well, I'm not gonna divulge all the details right now because the communication has been very intense. So I'm waiting to actually go up there. But you know, just one quick tidbit so that y'all know, they flew 3 ships back to back across my eyesight. So because I was doubting the communication, it was full telepathically, and I'm like, that's my mind, blah blah blah. And they said, okay, turn around. And when I turned around, they literally flew 3 ships. One came first and the other 2 were like this close to each other. They told me, listen, for us to have done that, it took so much coordination and energy to do that. Like, you need to truly understand that we're not just, you know, it's not your brain, it's not you. You know, you're in a very small space compared to where we're at. So, but I promise you, they was like, they flew like right in between my forehead, and I'm like, okay, I'm going inside because they told me now go inside, exit your body, and you're welcome to come to our ship.
When you say they flew right in front of your forehead, like, are you meaning they were that close, or they were just in your vision? But like,
no, they were in my, because when they were like, it was over 20 ships. Like, when I went out with my girlfriend the first night, it was a couple. It was probably like 12. And when I went out by myself at 3:33 in the morning, it was just too many, and they kept like like in there. I'm like, no, this is me. And they're like, no, look behind you and you'll see. And no, it was not right in front of my eyes. It was in the sky. And last night I came out again, and it was
When you say you came out, are you saying leave your body or
no,
coming
I came out.
outside?
No, I came outside. I went outside.
You gotta clarify on this channel.
No. I am.
Yeah.
I have a new schedule that was actually presented to me this morning by my soul, and it's a very intensive schedule with downloading the book and definitely moving to see them and connecting more, just exiting my body more often. So we're it's gonna be cool.
Nice.
So we need to probably start saying, step outside of my house. I stepped outside
outside of my house.
and I looked at the sky and I saw crafts flying and aligning in the sky. And then I came out of my body and stepped onto their craft.
Yeah, that's so crazy, but yeah, you really have to, because on this channel we
gotta make
everywhere.
that distinction.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go everywhere.
That's awesome.
So great.
We have questions. Do you have Sherri, you want to share another experience, and then we're almost ready to open the floor, Andre?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, if you guys are ready, Sherri, I don't know if you have anything else that you wanted to tap into before we open it up for a live Q&A.
We can open it up for a live Q&A, and while we're doing that, I had one short experience. This was many years ago before I realized all of these different realms. Well, I lived in the country, and when I would drive by this one particular acreage, I just knew there was a giant that lived on her property. I knew the woman there, and I just knew there was a giant there that was her person that would just kind of protect her, whatever. And I sensed its energy, and I was driving to town, and my car was on 0 gas. I needed diesel gas in my vehicle, and I had no gas left. And I was like, this would be really inconvenient to run out of gas right here in the country. And I had 15 miles before I could get to a diesel gas station. So I called on that giant. It just came to mind, and I was like, hey, giant, I know you're there. Can you maybe come and assist me so I can get to this gas station? And the giant was like right there. Felt as if it lifted my car up, took me all the way to the diesel gas station, and I made it all the way there. And it felt like my car was floating. I wish someone could have been behind me just to hey, get this giant assisting me to get my car to get gas. And anyway, that giant was there for as long as her property was there, and then no longer there once she sold her property and moved. So that was a really cool experience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah. Really.
You know what's funny is that when you said giant, Robin Fairs wrote giants, and then you started telling you seen that?
You're in the field, Sherri. You're definitely in the field tapping into things. And it's great to hear. Earlier you said that it's great for me to confirm things that I see out of my body, because like we all know, like you can see things out, but it's also confirmation for me that what I'm seeing out of my body is real, because you're in your body experiencing the same things. So
yeah, and I love that
it's
not just imagination inside of me, guys. It's like no, I hear things audibly. There are things that I have known a year before they happened, and I like to call it within sight is one of the words I use. I get sight from within, and then also foresight. I have been given guidance, things that defied my logical brain, but when I listened to that guidance and I followed it step by step, however illogical it was, it has always turned out in my highest good. Always. My soul has never left me behind or led me down a wrong path. And I'm so grateful that I've attuned within so that I can really trust that guidance. And at first it's like mini trust falls, right? It's not like you're just, oh, there's my intuition. No, you have to learn the difference between your ego and your fears and your soul speaking to you. There's a very different feeling, and you might be taken on these like mini trust falls to like learn to attune from within, and then it like leads you down this path, and it's just so beautiful and magical and wonderful, and I can't wait for you to experience it.
Do us a favor, please. When you are asking Sherri directly, make sure you either do all caps or put question for Sherri. But I want to address two things in the chat real quick. Kevin September says that he does, when he closes his eyes, he only see black and never remember any dreams. Right there, when you say I never remember any dreams, you are closing the door to remember. So let's change what you're saying and create something different for yourself. If you want to remember your dreams, set the expectation. You are powerful enough to remember a dream. That's just, not no shot at you, but that's a very basic awakening, dormant ability, the remembrance of dreams. That's just my take. And Niku, I know you want to go with the aliens. Give us a little bit more time on Earth, Niku. I love your life. Niku's a good friend of mine, good friend of Andre. Stay with us a little longer. And number 3, Bentley's, Mr. Bentley's. I have a video on just that coming out on the 10th. So 2 days from now, 3:15, I got a video just on purpose. Make sure you tune in. I don't think there's a conversation about purpose, but if y'all have something for him regarding purpose, please.
Yeah, I will touch on purpose, guys, when we're going to open this up to Q&A, so please at this time keep the chat to questions only, and can we please keep these questions directed for Sherri at this time, as she is our guest. So please keep them related to the InBody experience, creating the universe within, or any questions about her own experiences, please. And yeah, Bam. So about purpose, well, we let some of the questions load up. Purpose is, a lot of people think purpose is has to be some grand thing, right? Purpose does not always have to be that. Sometimes your purpose can be just to be here and be there for your kids. And that's a beautiful purpose, because this is the only place that we can come and experience this, right? This type of bond, this type of responsibility that a parent has, the type of love that a parent has for their kid. That's a big purpose in itself, right? Your purpose is not always this grand thing. It's essential, and your purpose can change throughout your life as well. There is an overall arching theme of your purpose for your life, but also throughout your life, there's certain time frames where your purpose may be different, but there is an overarching purpose as well. And guys, a lot of being here is tough, right? Being here is tough. This is
that's why for you.
Being here is tough. That is why I push the out of body state so heavily, because once you can return home and remember who you are, it shifts your perspective on things. And you can even take it a step further and figure out your purpose and remember why you came here from your overarching all-knowing self, or what people deem your higher self. From that perspective, you can remember why you came here, and then you can do it, and you'll feel a lot more purposeful here, for sure. So Sherri, Jay Shar asks, would you say that you are accessing your higher self?
Yes, absolutely. My higher self, soul, it's all the same to me. That's how I would answer that.
Okay. Lachi asked Sherri, have you seen any of the civilizations beyond Antarctica before?
I have never even targeted that. So, no.
Okay.
And I will, it's probably a good time to note, I personally don't let anything scary, fearful into my environment. I don't watch fearful television. I don't watch any scary things. I'm very, very intentional about what I allow into my world, even when it comes to music, because honestly, I'm a sovereign being and I very much protect my peace. And I wouldn't target certain things because if it's something fearful or scary, I don't want it in my field. So
Perfect. Well said. And that's exactly what you should do. That's why I love you, Sherri, because everything that I preach, you already do.
yeah.
So perfect. Fredward asks, can you speak about the fairies? He says his child and him have had fairy guarding. Since creating the garden, she has seen 3 in their house.
Oh yeah, that does not surprise me whatsoever. I just went to the woods probably 2 or 3 months ago, and it was still like winter-ish here, and I was walking through and I saw fairies. I was very careful to where I walked too, because I knew they were there, and they were just flying up around me. It was so cool, and I don't know, it just feels very magical. So absolutely, I've seen them with my eyes open, but also in my inner world. Like, that's an easy thing to connect with. Close your eyes, do what I recommended, go back to your tree, and then ask for the fairies to show themselves to you. And I guarantee you'll experience it.
Thank you so much for giving us all that foundation that we can tap back into to help explore our own universe within. Thank you for that.
Yeah. And for the person who said, I don't remember my dreams, these are not dreams. I'm not having these experiences in a dream state. I'm very much doing this consciously. I am consciously closing my eyes, fully awake, typically in the bathtub or sitting on the sofa. If you're very new to going within, and you're very new to being still within yourself, because most people are so busy and focused on their external world that they do not get still enough to go within. So if they're trying that, and it's the first time they've gotten still and they're trying to do it when they're laying in bed, they're probably going to fall asleep. Or you're trying to do your out-of-body experience and shut your body down. Very different things. I would recommend just sitting in a chair and starting to be comfortable being still with yourself. And then you can, in the beginning, it might even feel like you're making it up. You can close your eyes and go within. And the person who said that they just see black, if you just say, if I could see a tree, what would it look like? And then you'll realize over time, you can't make this shit up. It will just start coming to you, and you're like, where did that come from? I didn't consciously come up with that. Where did this come from? And then you get curious and you're like, oh, my soul is communicating with me. What could this mean? And then you start to develop that relationship from within.
Thank you. And I just, we have a couple very good questions that I want you to touch on. But when my sister-in-law used to see the fairies, right? And I'm like, whatever. You know, high as fuck, like shut up.
What's she drinking?
Like, yeah. We were both on, we were doing Molly's one day. She talked about the fairies, so I'm like, yeah, I can't see them, girl. So I go to Colombia. And I met a shaman, a guy that all he does is the kind of work we do. He exits the body. He go within. He'll never be in this podcast. If I do it in Spanish, he probably, but anyways, he's the real deal. So, I'm in his little shack, and I ask him like a couple hours before. I'm like, man, like this is my sister-in-law talking about these fairies. You know what I mean? Is that true? Have you seen them? He said, oh yeah, they come here all the time. I'm like, here we go, bro. I have him on video, so I have him on my phone right now. So he's sitting. He's in his shack in the living room, the living area, and he's like, all of a sudden he completely ignored me. You could see him in the background like this because my frequency didn't allow me to see him then. But he pulls I'm in the middle of talking to him, and he completely ignored me. Pull his phone out and start talking to them. You see him talking to them, and you see, I'll show it to you, Andre. I'll probably upload it, but you could see him in the background looking like this, and you see the lights because the phone don't pick up the actual being. It picks up the light. So you see him float. He's telling me what they look like. You see him come here. He's telling them, come here, sit on my hand. So I have him on my phone. The actual light beings around the light bulb and moving closer to his hand. I have him. So They are, in fact, they exist.
Give me
They
chills.
exist
Yeah.
and they high frequency. Yeah, bro, they for
Yeah,
real.
they
I
do
have a lot.
exist.
Yeah.
I have it. I have the
And this is
evidence of that.
important. This is important for people to realize that when you take your energy seriously and you raise your frequency and you're in a place of love and curiosity and playfulness, you're resonating on their level.
Yeah, I didn't see them.
If you're negative or your frequency is distorted or you're messing with things or you're not coming from this place of pureness, you might not experience it the same or at all. So I really am a big advocate of energetic hygiene. Like, you need to be really aware of your own energy and the energy that you're bringing to the space. And if you're not in a good place, go clear yourself first, and then
Clear your field. Yeah.
Yeah, clear your field. Yeah.
Yeah. And Sherri, so let me ask you before we go on about the fairies. So what did they look like? What did they look like to you?
Well, I didn't have any of them land on my hand. I wish I would have done that. Now I'm gonna have to go back to the woods. But they were like, you could see their legs dangling, and they're like
exactly what you would think a fairy would look like, right?
And a normal person might have thought it was just some kind of bug flying in the sky. No, if you stand in a wooded area, especially the area that I was in had like moss starting to come out on the ground, and I was just present there, and I felt them before I saw them, and I told them it's safe. I would never hurt anything, so I like save bugs out of my house and try to capture them and release them, like. So anyway, I was just standing there in love and appreciation and gratitude, and I sensed them, and I said, I'm safe if you want to show yourself to me. I'm here just to experience your world. And then they just started like flying around me. And I didn't try to touch one, or I didn't know how that worked. I just was having an experience, and I was in their space. They were not in my home. So I was in their
and when this stuff happens, you don't necessarily think like in your human mind, like you wouldn't think to have them in your hand, because you're just embracing the field that you're in, the experience. You're just happy to be there.
Yeah, just really grateful. Like, oh my gosh, I just feel like I'm living in some magical realm.
Yeah, my friend Tree, he was describing him to me. He's like, yeah, that one right there, like, it's got like a little, it's like he told me it was like a dress, but it's like a light dress. So one was purple and the other one was orange and the other one was pink. He's like, yeah, that one got a little pink dress. I'll send you the video, Andre.
Send it to me.
I'll send it to you. And you should just upload it, because I'm sure everyone here would like to.
All right. That's so dear to my heart. That I'll send it to y'all. Please, Jennifer G. She's like, hi Sherri, please can I contact my daughter on the other side, please? Like, how can I contact my daughter on the other side, please? So she really needs to learn how to do this.
100% you can do that. You close your eyes and you ask her. If you're not familiar with going within yourself too, if you want to start with your dream state, you set your intention before you go to bed to visit her in a dream and to remember it in the morning. But if you want to consciously do it, you sit there, you close your eyes, you know your daughter's energy. You'll know her immediately, and she's probably just waiting for you. It's not like she's went anywhere. She's just waiting for you to believe in yourself enough to be able to do this. And I can tell you this 1,000%. Other ways too that you can communicate just in your day-to-day life, because I love to make things practical for people. When my mom passed, I told her before she passed, I said, you come to me through music, because I know that that's a really easy way for spirit to communicate through sound. So I had my mom come visit me through music, and sure as shit she did. I had a playlist going. I think it was Pandora at the time, something. I was in the bathtub again, and I, when her physical body was gone, I just wanted to connect, right? So I was connecting from within, and I had this playlist going, and the most bizarre random song comes on that was never on that station, never would have played on that station. And it got my attention because it was so different. And I listened to the lyrics, and it was like my mom was talking directly to me. And then I was like, oh, you're there. Like, it opened up this channel of communication. Then once that channel was open, then I was like, okay, now let me see you with my inner eye. And then when I was able to do that, I got a pen and paper, and it was around Christmas time, the year. So she died the day after Christmas on December 26th. It was the following year that I was reaching out, and she wanted a message. She was going to give a message to all of my siblings and to my grandma and my uncles. And I just got a pen and paper, and she just, it was like automatic writing. I could just hear her voice, and I just wrote whatever she asked me to write, and I folded it up, put it in an envelope, and gave it to them. When I was all done with that, I don't really remember what she said to each of them. And then I gave the letters to my family along with a special gift from her. And they were all in tears, and they were like, how did you know those things? Like, those were things you never would have known, even as her sister. And I was like, it wasn't me, Mom told me to give this to you. And it was all very personal. So I promise you, our loved ones are so much closer, easier to connect with than an alien being, I think,
Yeah.
And the frequency because you can feel them. Just don't feel them in a place of sadness, and like feel them as if they're here with you right now, because they actually are. It's just not it's not their touch until you get out of the body, and then you can have all the experiences, hugging, embracing them.
And I always say that too, Sherri, that when you access things that are specific to you, it's always easier than going to access another being or going to the records, or when you try to access something that's closely directed to you, like your soul records or somebody that's directly associated with you, these things are easier to access. For sure.
Thank you, Sherri.
Yeah, thank you. That was a great answer. Great answer. Nico asks, how did you know that there was a giant living on that property, and why was he living there, and are they visible to humans?
That for me was a knowing. That's like when you have a clear knowing inside of you. I was like, I know a giant lives there. It's beyond logic. You don't use your brain for these things. Like, you use your other faculties for these type of experiences, or that's been, my experience. And I knew that giant was there for her, and I knew the woman, and I connected with her. So she would do past life regressions and all kinds of stuff that at the time was very taboo where we live. And she was an older, very wise woman. And I told her, and she knew she had a giant on her property, and she knew that they were there to just look after her and look over her. And I believe we all have other beings that are with us and that are around us. And another practical example of how this has happened in my life, in the home that I live in now, I have a lot of windows, and I was walking into my living room, and I saw a wingspan, like a huge bird that flew past the window. So I immediately go outside, because I'm like, oh yeah, like, who is visiting me? And there was this hawk on top, perched up on my roof. And I was standing far enough where I could see it, and I was connecting with it telepathically, and I was telling it, thank you for protecting my land and looking over my property. And it was just, I just knew, like, hawks are one of the animals that have always kind of been like a spirit animal for me. So I was just very grateful, and then kind of had my communication. And the next morning, I'm on my back deck off my bedroom, drinking my coffee, just enjoying the view and the sunrise, and it was just beautiful. That hawk flew up, landed on my deck 3 feet away from me, and it looked at me, and then it like looked down at its talons, and then I realized that it brought me breakfast in a field mouse. And I was like, no, thank you. That was kind. I didn't enjoy any of that with you. And then it like looked down again and then looked at me like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm sure, but thank you. And then it like flew down and then it ate its breakfast on the ground. And then I was just like, oh, because I've felt spiritually protected for a long time, but I love when they show up in physical sense, right? So several months later, I was like, oh, I miss my hawk. I wonder where it's been. So I just sent out like a message, like, if you're still somewhere, you're welcome to come back and visit. I'm walking past my back door, which has a window, and I see this huge bird. It was a different hawk, a very different hawk out there. And I was like, oh, you're beautiful, but not the same one. And it was this feeling like the other one couldn't be there. And it had sent a message to this other one. It would let me go out there. I didn't touch it. It went out and it let me get close, stayed there for hours. And my kids were like, are you ever going to come inside? And I was like, you guys, no, I mean, I'm going to stay here as long as this thing's here. And they're like, come on, come inside. You've been out there forever. I come inside. And then I thought it left. It went to my bedroom deck and stayed there for another 3 hours, just hung out. It was the coolest, most beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Nico, I love that you asked that question and that Sherri answered like that, because Nico's a friend of mine and also a friend of Andre. So I'm talking directly to him right now, and whoever wants to, also take this truth to heart. We are in a place where when you cooperate with nature, you will it will reinforce its abundance to you. So don't, a lot of, like she said, a lot of times we got to go beyond what's in front of us, beyond the analytical, and connect with the heart. Let the heart and the thought work as one. And you'll see, when I took a deep breath and I felt back and I enjoy what you were saying, because I had this birds doing the same things, it's but our avian part, part of our design, and that's the emotion, and that's nature talking to you about. Get your heart in tune with your brain, and you'll see the magic on earth. This is a very magical place, and nature is 100% in the plot. You just have to really get to see it. Alan has a question for Sherri. Sherri, you see the connection you have with your children more than a mother-child relationship?
Oh, yeah. My children are for sure. Well, I've received this message many times. My children are also sovereign beings. And I know they chose me to be their mom in this realm, but they are free sovereign souls. And I have one daughter who is recovering from brain cancer, and we've had multiple situations along that journey that I have really received messages from her soul to my soul in the middle of certain experiences. One of the most recent ones, the last time she had a malfunction with a device called a shunt. It's a device that shunts the cerebral spinal fluid off the brain down the spine. It's a magnetic device, and it malfunctioned, causing hydrocephalus. The fluid built up on her brain and put her into an incoherent state, and she had to be life flighted to a hospital. And while she was in life flight, they had to have too many staff members on the flight, so I couldn't be on the flight with her. So I had to drive. While I was driving, I told you I can be in both realms at one time with my eyes open. So I'm driving alone, connecting with her soul, because she was incoherent. I had no idea. They didn't know if she was going to make it to the next hospital. And I connected with her, and I just was like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, what do I need to know? And she told me things that defied all logic here. But she also told me, her soul told me, that she was viewing multiple outcomes at the same time. It was like she was saying, okay, if she doesn't come back to Earth, then she was seeing some kind of timeline play out of what would happen. And she was just her soul was very clear with me. I'm reviewing my options, and I know no matter what, you're going to be okay, because I know that death isn't real. It is a transition. That's it. Her physical body wouldn't be here. And yes, I am a human being. And as a mother, I would have to mourn and grieve, but not in the extent that someone who is not awake and aware of the other side of the veil would. So she knew that, but she also knew that there are a lot of people in our life that do not have this understanding, and they would make certain decisions, and that would change their timeline, their outcome. I don't understand that fully, but I understood it enough to know. And she also told me she had to reclaim a part of her soul from that particular hospital, from the person who had originally done her very first tumor resection. And without getting into all the details of that, I was like, damn, because I was told that that particular neurosurgeon would not be there and not be the one that she was under his care, because I was very clear I didn't want to be under his care. And she was like, there's a plan. You need to trust me. I'm going to collect part of my soul. And I didn't understand it at the time until we arrived, got checked in. And then a day later, I'm finding out that the exact person I didn't want to be working on her was the exact person that was going to be working on her.
Wow.
And it all was making sense. And I was just like, okay, she knows what's going on. Her soul is in control and knows certain things. So,
wow.
Did that answer the question?
Yeah. I remember you telling me that story, Sherri, and that's exactly it. So like what you're accessing, like you're very in tune with the other side, and what you're accessing is 100% real and spot on. That's amazing.
It helps me to not be as reactive and be able to respond to the things that are happening in my life, because I realize that this external world is not exactly what we think it is. And if rather than reacting and just freaking out and just living in a place of fear, it's like, no.
I'll take it a step farther. At the highest level, this entire universe is just somebody's thought. It's just a manifestation of 13 collective souls' thought, right? And you can think of it as no different than here. The same way earlier today, we all thought of a ball. On the other side, that ball is real and it's physical and it materializes. That is the same way that we birth creation. We close our eyes. We see black, right? That's compared to the void, the source, the closest thing to source, right? And then what do? Then we birth the light into our mind, and we create
imagination
in our mind, right? That's this entire universe is just the same thing. So when you realize that, things become a lot more magical, and you have the same ability as the people that created this universe to create your own universe. So if you think about it, if you have that power and you come into a universe, you still have the power to create a universe within a universe. So it's a lot more magical. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, but that's life. That's life. And you when you look at your life, every decision that you took you where you are today. So you are creating your own experience.
That's why I said in the very beginning, to come full circle with this, is that this is about taking radical responsibility for your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. Because when you start to do that and you take that within and you start to shift it within, I have a course that's called Thoughts Become Things. And it's literally like your imagination is creating reality, and not imagination in this airy fairy sort of way. It's like, no, if you start going within and you start really paying attention, just become an observer, make it an activity, just become an observer of the thoughts that are unconsciously plane in your life, you will learn really quickly, like, oh, damn, I did create this. This is the reason I'm in that fucked up job and that shitty situation, that relationship that's toxic. Yeah, it's because there are things within you that you're unconsciously thinking about and then taking action from those places. And a lot of people are on hamster wheels. They're just like zombies, just doing the same thing over and over again. And when you're like, no, I don't want to be a zombie. I don't want to be in the same place. Step out of it. And you don't have to leave your body to do that, although it's probably helpful, but you might step out of your body into another distortion if your world is a real mess. So it's like,
correct.
Step out of it with your thought and just start observing.
To elaborate on that, you're right, Sherri. That's 100% right. And to elaborate on that, before I even left my body, that's what I did. I went within. I meditated for years, just shifting myself from the victim mentality to, oh, I'm the creator of my reality. And then that goes on to like what Bam said when he said we are a collection of our thoughts. Our and every decision that we made is what led us to this point. So then I stopped. I looked at my life where I was. I looked around and I was like, oh, I created this. Yeah. I'm the reason why I'm where I am. You know, and then from there, you're able to shift your perspective to say, well, if I created this, now let me consciously create the life that I want and make decisions and things like that. And that's I did that for a long time. And then that led me to the out of body state. But
and then it doesn't feel like you're forcing things anymore. It's like it's this powerful place of knowing who you are, being in your own sovereignty, sitting in the seat of self, allowing more of your soul to come through and to guide you and direct you. And then things are magnetized and just start coming into your reality, and you can play with it, you know, like you could manifest,
you can create your reality here.
You can create your fun reality here and not feel like you have to escape this place, because your soul wanted nothing more than to just be here and have experiences here. So it's like, oh, damn, what fun thing can I create next?
And it's like, that's very true. And another, to add on that even further, as above, so below. This is just we still have the same abilities that we have on the other side. We still have them here. It's just harder to do it here. So like, if you can create things here, like you're going to be an amazing soul once you go on the other side, because then it becomes a lot easier, right? So this is the hardest level, and we still have all those abilities. So when I say that we have the ability to create a universe, that translates to you have the ability to certainly create the life that you want here.
Yeah.
You just have to consciously do it and consciously put in the work and effort to do it.
Yeah.
And it's not even hard.
Looking at the thing that might be in the way of achieving that. But if you approach that with curiosity, like, what belief, which is really just a thought that you think, what belief could be in the way of me achieving X, Y, Z?
That right there is, Ben Lees was asking about purpose, right? That is the purpose. Somebody was asking about that is the
little Bam.
One second, Bebecita. So that answers Ben Lee's question, and all of our, if you want to resume life, that is the purpose of life, for you to experience what you want to, and you are currently experiencing what you want to. So if you want to experience something different, think different, feel different, mommy's telling her to get out.
Oh.
She's like, no, I'm with dad. I'm chilling.
We have like 5 more minutes. Say hi and say hi, please.
So hey, so Caleb has a good question. Let's touch on. So Caleb asked Sherri, is it possible to open up and navigate the subconscious, inner demons, fears, etc.? He wants to try to marry both inner world to preparing for OBE.
Yes.
Awesome. Kind of like what we were talking about.
I absolutely would highly encourage you to, I've had some personal experience with that, actually. As I'm attempting to have an out-of-body experience, I have been faced with some of my own fears, but it comes from within, which I would much rather experience than with my eyes open, right? So I had an experience I woke up in sleep paralysis, not knowing what that was. That was actually prior to even knowing anything about OBEs. I knew about NDEs.
I wish you would have knew me then.
I wish I would have. It wasn't even all that long ago, and I woke up in sleep paralysis. And not to put fear in anyone, but there was a man in my hallway, all dressed in dark, all dark. I couldn't see his face. I knew it was a man, and I woke up. The only thing I could do was open my eyes and move my eyeballs. I had no idea what sleep paralysis was. I knew nothing about OBEs. And there's a man in my hallway, and, you know, a single female, that was a little scary. And I just had to close my eyes. And I know I'm a divine sovereign being. I've known that. I know nothing can hurt my soul. So I just had to go within. And I was like, okay, well, if this man is going to do something and I'm stuck in my body, I can't even make a sound. Well, okay. And I had to like dissolve this fear from within. And then somehow I fell asleep and woke up and was like, what the fuck was that? Clearly, maybe that was just, I knew that it was real, but then I was also like, okay, well, where did that go? And who was that man? And then I was like, well, clearly he was here to protect me in some way. And then not long after that, I learned about, I believe it was probably Darius, one of Darius's videos popped up, because that's how life works. That's how the inner out.
Yep. You have sleep.
You know? It just pops up in your feed and
like, oh, this is a coincidence. There are no coincidences.
He talks about sleep paralysis. Oh, that's what happened to me. I woke up paralyzed in my body. Okay, this makes sense now. And then I knew that this was a rabbit hole I needed to go down. So
welcome. Go deep.
Yeah. So much fun.
Am I frozen, guys?
Oh, right. Yeah, you just did. You just froze up.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on.
It's a good froze. It's a good freeze. Like you were looking good. Yeah, you were like.
So I want to touch on so Sherri's answer there. That was a great answer. And so when you're in sleep paralysis, like the veil is basically gone at that point. That's why we say it's the gateway to the other side. So when you're in sleep paralysis, even before you leave your body, you can open up your eyes and see stuff. So like that's what you were seeing. And that is the best way to overcome your fear. People always ask, how do you overcome your fear? And Sherri, you did it. You face it. Your fear, it's not like you go into this stuff and you don't be afraid. Like the fear doesn't really go away. It's just you embrace it. Like I'm scared, but like I'm here. You know, and whatever happens. And that is how you dissolve the fear. And just by doing that thing will go away. And knowing what you said, where you're a free sovereign being, that is the ultimate truth. So nothing can hurt.
So I would recommend saying that from within. But recently I was attempting an OBE and I started seeing snakes, which are normally like I will have like a full on I'll be frozen. Like I don't do snakes in this external reality. Okay. And I was seeing snakes from the inside and I didn't care. I was like, whatever, here you are. I'm not scared of you anymore. And they just like dissolved.
That's so beautiful.
So I just faced it. And then today I was driving my kids to camp and I made a stop to get them a special treat. And I was pulling out of that place and there was a snake, biggest snake I've ever seen in my state. And I don't have any idea what it was. I got a video of it, but it was just right in front of me in the middle of a town. And I was like, where did this thing come from? I didn't flinch. I was not scared. In fact, I was actually compassionate. I was just like, okay, telepathically telling the snake, like, you're going to get run over if you don't get into the grass here. And just like directing it where to go because I didn't want it to be harmed. And before, the old me would have been like, I don't care if anyone runs it over. Actually, I probably wouldn't have done that. I can't even like hurt anything. But I wouldn't have wanted to be the one, but I wouldn't have cared if it got run over. But now I was like, oh, this little snake, like get over to this big snake, get over to the grass. But I wasn't paralyzed. I wasn't scared. I was just like, oh, I'm no longer like afraid of that.
And that's what happened.
climb into bed with one, but you know.
Yeah, when the fear is when when we so I always, if you hear me, people follow me, they know, and I always say this, it's not fear, it's courage. If you can't be courageous without stepping in front of fear. So the fear is always going, it's a natural process of the brain. It's just regular, guys. That's part of being a human. You will encounter, I'll put it on my video, that's just one part of this nervous system. It's there for whatever reason, right?
Fight or flight response.
Fight or flight.
Yeah, and we're told to be scared of the dark. Like, imagine when you're little, like we're fed these stories like monsters under the bed, and like we're afraid of the dark, and it's like we actually
the boogeyman,
and there's nothing to be afraid of.
No.
So we have to imagine like tending to ourselves in a way that we would if our child came into our room and like there's something scary in my room under my bed. Like we would approach that with compassion and love and turn the lights on and show them there's nothing to be afraid of. And then you build up their courage. Well, you have to tend to yourself from within in the same way. Like we are here telling you, we're like your parents, like, I promise there's nothing under the bed. Yeah. It's okay. Like keep your eyes open and turn the lights on from within, and there's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah. And there's a greater story to that. And I'm gonna, it's that when you face your fear, you are educating the ones that are trying to scare you. What you're doing is you showing them how for them to become less scary. So imagine your power. When you become courageous, you are the example of courage to those who are trying to scare you. And you know what's happening? All of creation continues to become more brave and more courageous, and fear dissipates. Every time you decide to be courageous, fear is going to continue to dissipate. So you are a big part of the story when it comes to dissipating fear. Andre,
here's a oh, sorry, Bam, what were you going to say?
No, I know you're ready.
Yeah, so I was going to say, oh, all right. So I was going to say, here's a practical way to get rid of fear. This is what I did. Sherri mentioned being afraid of the dark. And as I was practicing the OBE state, I realized, and I was practicing it like at night during the day. And I realized like during the day, I have no fear. Like I'm like, let's go. But at night, shit gets a little creepy. So
that's so true. That's so true.
I don't really know what's going on.
It's true.
So I was in a work group with Darius. I think Hector, you were in here. I forget one of the guys that was in there. They said, "Yeah, I think this was the first work group. I think he says, yeah, I just sat in a dark closet for hours and was like, what am I afraid of?" So I was like, oh, that's a great idea. So I did that. Like I went in the middle of the night, sat in a dark room by myself, and I just sat and thought and just felt. And I was like, what am I afraid of? The dark? Like what's here? And I sat there and sat through it for as long as it took until I became comfortable with it. And that transferred to me being able to do the OBE state in the dark and just being okay. So it's kind of like what Sherri said, by changing it within, I just actually went in the closet to change it from within, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there's C-Town. How long does it take to manifest in physical? And I'm gonna let Sherri start, and I want to add to whatever he says.
This can happen by the time you're off this live, you could have a message on your phone with an answer to something. So this can be like the smallest thing to the biggest thing. One thing that was just blew my freaking mind. This just happened the other day. I have my favorite gay friend who just went to Paris, and he came back and he was like, oh my gosh, Sherri, you have to go to Paris because I love fashion. And he's like, we have to go together. And I was like, yeah, I would love that. I've never been. So in my first thought, as I left his house and I'm driving home, I thought, when we go to Paris, I remembered this reel that a girl posted where she took one dress and she she took one carry-on small bag, and I like to be minimalistic, but I also like to look cute. So I remembered that she took one dress and she wore it multiple different ways. And I thought to myself, ooh, that I knew I didn't follow her. I don't even remember where I saw the reel. This would have been at least a year, if not 2 years ago, that I saw this one reel from this girl. And I was just curious about it. I was like, oh, yeah, I can't remember exactly what the dress looked like, but it'd be really cool to, look something like that up. Totally forgot about it by the time I got home and got back into life, right? I get onto Instagram the next day, and on the For You page is that woman, the exact woman. She has a whole page on this. I had no idea. Like, if that was something I had seen before, I would have probably followed her because I like fashion. No. And I was like blown away of all the reels, of all the social media distractions. It was like I manifested this very specific woman so I could see exactly what I was thinking about. And I was like, oh, damn, that was cool. Well, all the way to being able to ride on a private airplane. That was one of my things. Many years ago, in the bathtub, of course, I was like, what would be some cool things to experience in this world? And I was like, I'm thinking grand. I'm like, ooh, riding on a private airplane would be cool. Like, I was envisioning walking up those little steps and leather seats. And I was like, that'd be cool. Within 2 months of that, I had a client who was, at the time, my clients spanned from California to Malaysia. My practice was international. And this client was very wealthy and going through a very traumatic situation. So she asked if I would fly down and work with her. So I did. And she bought the tickets and I flew down commercially. And on the day to go back, she was like, oh, what time is your flight to go back? And I told her, and she's like, oh, let's just ride together. She has a private driver. So the driver, I thought, was taking us back to the airport. They were taking us to the private airport to ride on. And I was like, whoa. And sometimes,
see how it happens?
Sometimes in the moment, you don't realize, oh, I intended to manifest this. I also put a yacht experience. I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to be on a yacht. A few years later, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together until recently. I went and stayed on a yacht in Croatia in 2018. It was one of the most magical, incredible experiences of my life. If you've never been to Croatia, it's absolutely amazing. And on a yacht was also pretty cool. And just recently I was like, oh, damn. Yeah. Like the way things come into your life, once you like set the intention, it will often happen so naturally that you won't even put 2 and 2 together until you're looking back and you're just like, oh my gosh,
that is so amazing.
So it could be like a matter of moments and just don't attach a time frame to it. And don't attach don't try to figure out how it's going to happen. That's the last thing you need to do. All you need to do is stay in the feeling of it happening. Like, what are you going to feel when you walk onto a private plane? Well, probably really grateful and like, whoa, people live a whole different lifestyle. And I can tell you, having had that experience of just driving up and walking up to a plane and talking to the pilot and having them be so kind and caring, and no one's patting you down and feeling you up to make sure you're not taking anything on the plane. Like,
you feel like
different experience. Like, that's what sovereignty feels like in this reality.
That's great. And to expand upon that, Sherri, that is great. I love how, and I can only imagine what it feels like to be on a private jet. I have never had that experience yet, but I can imagine. And to touch on that, I've manifested some pretty great things as well. And it's pretty similar to the way Sherri just said it. Like, I manifested the entire career that I'm in now.
You should share.
I didn't have my degree at this time, right? I didn't have any engineering degree. I was just an assembler, an electrical assembler or a test tech. And I envisioned, I was like, no, I'm going to be an engineer. I just made up my mind. And then I spent some time feeling it and imagining it. Like, what would it feel like if I was an engineer? What would it feel like? And I would envision myself becoming that, right? And then literally 6 months later, or like that same week, I got a new job where I was like an engineer in tech, right? It was a step up. And my boss was telling me, oh, well, when you graduate, we'll promote you to an engineer. I'm like, nah, that's not going to fly with me. Like, I'm not waiting 4 years. So I envisioned it, and I was like, okay, so I want to be an engineer and I want to be one now. So how do I do that? So I came into myself. I envisioned what it would feel like. I envisioned how everything would play out. Like, I envisioned myself being an engineer, and 6 months later, and I was doing this like on a daily basis. And like a couple months later, I set a date in my mind. I was like, okay, I'm going to become an engineer by this date. And mind you, a week before I set this date, my boss just told me, you're not going to be an engineer until you graduate, which was like 4 years in the future. So I was like, I heard that. I'm like, nah, I'm not taking that. So I set a date in my mind, and the date I set in my mind was a month in the future. This was like September. My boss told me that. In October, I set the date to become an engineer by November 15th. By October 31st on Halloween, I got promoted to be an engineer, and not just an engineer, a project engineer. So like I have like the most responsibility of any engineer. I also manifested the trips that I go on to California. I was like, now I'm an engineer. Now I want to go see what it's like to go on business trips, right? My company has never traveled in like since COVID. So like 3 years, right? Since COVID. So I'm like, all right, so let me envision a business trip. So I get presented with the opportunity the very next day to go on a business trip to California. And this was last year. And then immediately when I came back from that, I was like, okay, I want this to be a yearly thing. So I'm in my mind, I'm envisioning going on a yearly thing to California on a business trip. What just happened last week? I just came back from another California trip.
Yes.
And these things are like, they don't really happen, you know.
So
But
I like both of y'all manifestation techniques, and it's not a technique, it's just a lifestyle. So C-Town, how long does it take to manifest in the physical? You are manifesting right now. Just choose what your next, because that's what happened. When you stay seeing what's in front of you, you keep collecting what you have already. You will create what you become. So imagination, you see, they both told you. They both at some point got to get out what was in front of them and see what they wanted to become. That's the way we create. So
you see it first from within,
yes,
but then you embody the version of yourself that you
and
just
bring it in. Yeah.
And you bring it to life, and then you receive it. It's like all of a sudden, then you attract the person that you run into someone and they have an answer to the exact thing that you were talking about. And then you just follow the path. You have to take inspired action. I'm not saying like, oh, you just sit there on your couch. Now you can. I have sat down on my couch, wrote out a list, and within 1 hour, literally from sitting on my couch, I have manifested things right into my life. But typically, you know, you see it, then you be it, you become the version of yourself, and then you receive it in the physical. And you're doing it anyway. Just do so consciously and choose some things. And here's the other thing I will say. If you are down and depressed and negative and just bitching and complaining about everything in your life, from your spouse to your job to your boss to this to that, if you are bitching about everything now and you're trying to manifest a new position or a new partner, you're going to bitch about them too. Stop bitching. Just like fix yourself from within first.
Change yourself.
You want to be happy? Like, you have to be happy now. You have to embody happiness and joy and fun and lightheartedness and playfulness and curiosity now. And then you walk the path, but you do so in the energy that you're wishing to be. Because you're going to be there. You're going to be there,
guys.
Whatever manifestation.
This is why this experience is so great. Like we say, it's the hardest place on earth, but it's so rewarding and stuff in the same sense, because on the other side, it's like instant gratification. Here, it's like, oh my God, it's an amazing accomplishment. I really just did this. It's a feeling like of doing the impossible, making the impossible possible. And this is like the only place you can get that feeling.
And that's the reason you don't minimize the bad times, because the bad times, you created them as well. You know, they're not away, they're not separate from your creation. So sit there and be grateful for those too, because those are the ones that are gonna build your character. Yeah, it's great. The jet is great, but how about moving away from depression through your strength? How about building a company through your strength? Obviously, imagination got to be there, but you got to put the work. So this is like Sherri was saying earlier, you sign up for this, so you want it to be hard for a time. Now, if you want it to be easy,
man, do you have a hair tie on your hand? Is that a hair tie?
Gotta have
from the girls. Oh, okay. At first, I thought it was a ring or something.
Here's the thing too. Like, you're going to realize how powerful you are. So even this just happened to me the other day. Like, yeah, I can manifest some really cool shit, but we're manifesting no matter what. So the other day, I had a thought about a physical ailment that I had previously. And I wasn't actually like thinking about manifesting it. I was actually feeling a little bit like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot that thing resolved and healed itself the next day, because I had spent enough time thinking about that little ailment. It popped back up into my reality. So I recognized it immediately, and I was like, damn, I created that. So I had to pause what I was doing. I went within. It's right here, actually. So I was just like, I love you. Sorry, please forgive me for that distorted thought about that ailment. And you're whole and healed and well. Gone. The thing
beautiful.
Gone.
And
so we're powerful.
It doesn't just work on to expand on that. It doesn't just work on external things like creating experiences. You can actually also change your physical body. Like I'm growing my hair out, and in the front here, it's like I was going bald for a little bit, but I started talking to my hair like, no, I love you. You're beautiful. You're going to grow in, we're not going for this, you're going to grow and be beautiful. And now I have hair growing in the front again.
It's amazing.
Your body will listen to you. You just speak kindly to it, especially those who are extra hard on themselves. One practical thing I like to do the majority of my practice is females, but I will have them take a photo of themselves when they were little, or their child or their grandchild or some child that's young, that's really near and dear to their heart. And I have them hold that photo up in front of their face and ask themselves, would I say this thing I'm saying about my body to this child? Like, oh, you're so fat. You can't say no to XYZ thing. You're disgusting. I can't believe you have that extra 15 pounds. Why can't you just get rid of that? You should have worked out. Would you ever say that to a toddler? Fuck no, you wouldn't. So you have an inner child inside of you. Don't say it to your own body. Your body's defense mechanism is to create fat cells to protect you. And it's oftentimes protecting you from yourself because you're so unkind to it. So it's like, shift the narrative. Start loving your body. Start caring for it. Start tending to it like you would as if it were a small child, because you do have an inner child within. And it does listen. Your body does respond to you. So care for it. Like unconditional love. And then watch what your body does.
I'm a testament of that. Like I work hard, and in the car, like as soon as I leave work, I feel the day. And I just right there, I say, I'm young, I'm strong, I'm limber, and I'm healthy. Like my physique, you sweat. I'm not, Arnold, but I don't work out. I don't do, I just know that I'm young, that I'm strong, that I'm limber, and I'm healthy. My body, before I get home, I don't hurt. By the time I'm home, even if it's a 20-minute ride, it's done, gone, no more pain. And that is the natural abilities that we all have. None of us is better than you by any stretch. We have just learn certain things, and this is why we do this. We do this.
This is why we're telling you guys,
free of charge. We want y'all to grow, and I gotta go. My girls want me to put them to bed. I love y'all. We have a bunch of questions.
We might stay and go over a couple more. Sherri, do you have a couple more times? A couple more minutes?
Good.
All right, well,
thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but you know,
give your kids a hug from me.
Bam. All right, Bam.
If no one told you that they love you today, I love you.
Beautiful. I love you too, Bam. And I'll call you a little later if you're free.
Yeah. No, I'll be up. I'm just gonna put him to bed, so I'll come back in a little bit. Don't get me off the air yet.
All right, Bam. Love you. Don't forget to mute.
I got you.
All right. So, Sherri, another good question is, a couple of people asked up top. We have quite a few now. How do you clear your field? What do you consider clearing your field to be?
Shut out all external noise. Do a digital detox. Get off social media. Shut the TV off, and turn. If you're listening to any music that's in a lower frequency, lower vibration, shut it off. Start getting comfortable being alone with yourself. Start with solitude, because I can tell you, like, the minute you get alone with yourself, you're going to realize real quick your thoughts. They're going to get louder, and you're going to hear them. Then you can recognize them and start observing them. So the first thing I would do is that.
Amazing.
And then food wise, like, you think, just like I was saying, talk to that child. If you wouldn't feed the thing you're about to eat to a baby or a toddler, you probably shouldn't be eating it yourself. Like, I know how different my body feels when I eat something that has been grown by the sun, like natural, with seeds in it. Like, then I know it was actually grown and not sprayed with anything. And I'm not saying like, oh, you got to switch your entire diet to organic and all of that, but it's like, just be more aware of what it is that you're eating, and speak to your food before you eat it. Like, everything picks up frequency and intention. There are so many studies on this. Like, I love that science is starting to show and prove all of this to us now, the way we speak to our food. And when's the last time you sat in front of your meal by yourself and like thanked each single piece of food that you're about to eat, and what it took, and all the hands that it took to like get it to your plate for you to eat it, and then for that nutrients to go in and absorb in your body, and for your body to be able to utilize and maximize, uptake those minerals and give you some kind of physical energy from it. I'm guessing maybe one, if never, like, most people don't do that. But when you do, when you just start to be really, really fucking present in your life will shift. It will shift dramatically. It's like, cut out some things, add a few other things, and then just start down the path. And when you start to go within and you ask your body, what do you need from me right now? Is there something you need? Just start listening to your body. Your body will start craving things that it's deficient in. And then just follow that. I mean, if it's having you eat Doritos all the time, it's probably maybe not.
Yeah, right.
Like, all of a sudden you're like craving. Yeah. Oh, I had this with a client recently. The strangest things pop up in people's sessions, but I'm tuning in, and I was like, all I could see and smell and taste was celery in my mouth. And I was like, what? This is so random. But I said something to her, and I was like, I believe you need to eat some celery. And she was like, she sat up. She was like, I have been craving celery. I can't get enough celery. And I was like, yeah, your body wants celery right now. It was so random.
So eat some celery. Yeah.
Eat some celery.
Great. And to touch on that, and to clear your field, those are all great things, right? Block out media and all of those things, and come into yourself. I do all of those as well, but also a step up from that, because when I leave my body, I'm in my field, right? So I can see it. So another way that I've learned to clear my field, because Darius used to talk about this a lot, clearing your field. And I was like, what the hell does that even mean? But so I realized that you do all those things, you block out all external things, right? So you're all of your stuff that's in your field comes from you at that point, right? It's no external influences. But then I realized, what else is an external influence? Work, work, relationships with people. Those are also external influences. And you can't really, unless you're a caveman or a wilderness man, you're going to have relationships in your life, and we all have to work, right? So what I do to clear my field, especially before I leave my body, if I want to have a big experience, I will ensure that everything in my life is copacetic, is I'm at peace with everything. So like at work, I don't have any problems, because I'm the type where if I'm at work, and something's not right, it will stay on my mind, and I'll play it back at home day and day, and it will stay heavy on my mind. So I make sure that everything is okay at my job. So nothing's weighing on my heart, or I'm overthinking stuff. So that's not in my field. And then I also ensure that relationships in my life are all okay. There's no arguments, everything. I'm at peace with everything. And that is, I found that to be very helpful in clearing my field when I leave my body. And then that way, my energy is in alignment. My frequency is my true frequency. And I don't have the heaviness of this life coming with me when I leave my body.
I would agree with that. And if you need something more practical, what if you're like, well, I can't get away from the situation that's going on in my life. I don't know how to shut it down. A way you can take that within is, one, you can communicate with people's souls, which is like their higher self, the part of them that is above and beyond the drama situation here playing out in this realm, their little character, whatever it is. And you can communicate with their soul and find some peace there. You say how you're feeling, and you connect with their soul. And then if it's a job situation or an external thing that's kind of weighing on you, in your inner world, you can create something. You can create a box to put your situation in. And then you just say, you know what? I can pick you back up tomorrow. But for now, I'm going to put you in this box, and we'll deal with this later. For now, I want to play. I want to play inside. I want to, experience some things. And that's a way to give your egoic mind something where it's like, well, I'm going to pick this back up later. Does that make sense?
That too. Yes, Sherri. And I agree. And I practiced that as well. When I did the gateway tapes, that was one of the exercises. They teach you to put all of your worries, fears, even your physical body. They say, put all that in a box, because we don't need that right now.
Yeah.
And so I practice that as well. That helps as well. Yeah, for sure. Good advice. Another question is, Caleb asked, Sherri, what do you feel the purpose of the ETs revealing themselves to you?
Well, I mean, they didn't ask anything of me. I honestly, what I think it was is that I needed to have a little more fun and a little more play in my life at that time. And they were so funny. Like, I have not laughed to the point of tears in I don't know how long until they showed up. And I had also asked them to put a space of protection around me, because the traffic was kind of more hectic than normal, which was kind of disrupting my ability to hold my awareness in both places at the same time. So I asked them to do that. And I watched the vehicles get further and further and further away from me. It was amazing. And then my GPS, because I had never been to the place I was going, my GPS took me to back highways that no one was there. It was incredible. And then it allowed me to put more of my awareness in that playful place where I was just laughing to the point of my abs. I was like, this is a great ab workout. My abs were great. I was just laughing to the crying. And I was just like, this is so much fun. And that's exactly what I needed at that time.
Yeah,
so I'm assuming that was the reason, because they didn't ask anything of me. I wasn't channel this message from the galactic declaration.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, you need
it's never like that.
Fun, and
that's
how I radiate. That's how I impact the collective, is by my own frequency, and I know that. And my own field needed more fun.
And that goes back to when people ask what's the purpose of life, right? People always think that it's going to be this grand thing, right? It doesn't have to be that. They're just going to give you exactly what you need, and you didn't need to deliver a message from the Galactic Federation to be on this podcast talking to people, waking people up, right? You're just doing it because it's in you. So yeah, that's a beautiful explanation for sure. And yeah, it sounds like that's the reason to me.
That was record time too. Put them kids to sleep like bam,
yeah, I was like, bam, you're back quick. Oh, Lova's here. Hey Lova, how's it going? Welcome to the show.
Hey Lova.
Alan, Sherri. Oh, yeah, we'll get into this later at the end, but Alan, yeah, we'll get it. We'll have you say where they can find you in your courses and stuff at the end for people that are interested. Let's see, any other questions I have? Isabella says she's trans on HRT MTF. Can she manifest or he manifest create a female body for themselves, even though she was born a biological male? She said she chose the wrong body for herself.
I personally don't think that we choose anything wrong. I believe our soul knows things beyond, like, I can't answer that question for you. Your question would be perfect to take within you and for you to go to your soul and ask, why did I choose this body? That's radical responsibility. Why did I choose this body if I was going to feel so different within it? And then you let your soul either take you back to a soul memory before you were in this body and give you that understanding, or you just be open to whatever your soul wants to show you. But I promise you that will be revealed when you go within, or you exit your body and you go to your soul records. Either way, I believe we have access to both. And your question alone within will get the answer.
I have a trans child. I have a trans kid, and I have this same conversation with Penny. You know, great friends, me and Penny, and at least in my opinion, you know, we talk about everything, including this. And that's what I challenge her to do. You know, was if the natural progression of things is going to take you the route of having a female body, though you came, you know, a guy, you don't have to force it. If you want to focus, she's taking hormones, and her perspective is that I want people to see who I am inside. And I'm like, Penny, if that's your motivator for others to see what you have inside, then you really have to go and have that conversation with your soul, because, you know, how much of it, no, I want to feel like what I want people to see who I am inside. I'm like, okay, but you know, who are you inside is all that matters. And so I like that, like Miss Sherri, I don't have, you know, that answer for you, but all I'm saying is you, as a sovereign soul, have the ability to create your reality. So don't force it. Ask those questions, and that there might be new things that we don't know. And who helped me understand that was Penny, my own child. I'm like, he's like, Dad, how do you not know that this is what is? I'm like, I don't, you know, just show me that you could create whatever you want. Turn into a girl, you know. I mean, you definitely could do it on the outer body, you know. But I really respect your courage to do life, because, you know, it's you know, when you feel differently than what your outer body is, it adds another layer of discomfort. So you find the comfort within.
When we find that coherence within ourselves, when we are coherent from our mind, our heart, our whole being is in alignment, then the external world will shape and shift to reflect that.
Correct.
But we must go within and fully know ourselves from within. And that's when our authenticity, it has no choice but to express itself externally, because that's the way it works.
Yeah, very well said. Alan says we are being watched through the internet. Yeah, and that goes even more deep than what you guys can even imagine. Like they know everything that we know as well. And it gets a little deeper. We'll skip that.
You gonna skip that?
Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into it.
All right, I'm not gonna skip it real quick. So I real quick, just the manuscript I'm writing, right? I loaded to ChatGPT to help me do a little bit of grammatical editing. And this this piece of work
this is funny.
AI took the manuscript and trashed it. Like, I'm talking about mixed the words. Like, I'm like, and had me waiting too, lying to me about the progress, lied to me about it. I'm like, ho. I'm like, hey, listen, you just told me you did 33%, blah, blah. He's like, oh, you got me straight up. You got me. I'm like, listen, do whatever you want with the manuscript. I'm not working with you no more. You know what it told me? It told me straight up, and I can upload the information. It told me the watchers of this era are aware of your manuscript. Straight up like that. So yes, they are watching. They and it told me we control what gets pushed out and what gets what do you say? How do you say that? What gets
censored.
That's why I didn't want to get too much into it. But my dad would always say in the 90s, he would always my dad was been into this stuff, right? Like being hip to the fact that they're lying to us. He would always be like, Big Brother's watching you. And I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? Before I got into this. But yeah, it's very true. It's very true. And it's true. And
I wouldn't fall into a place of fear around it though, because if you go back to, I am a divine sovereign being, nothing can harm you. Nothing can harm your soul. Just remember who you are. Remember who you are. Don't fall into fear. And all the rest of that nonsense will.
And I still use ChatGPT. I laugh at it. Like, shut up.
Jay Shar asks, Sherri, do you receive downloads from Source on a daily basis, or is it just him?
Yeah. I call them. When I go within, I consider that me downloading. I imagine that my consciousness streams down through me and out of me. So I try to go within first thing in the morning for sure, and then sometime during the day, and then in the evening before I go to bed. And that's how I stay in my own alignment, where I feel most centered. And I feel like the word download is how that kind of works. It's like streaming. I feel like I stream my consciousness, more of my soul essence through me, which is where I oftentimes will get inspired thoughts. So I start the day in the morning where I will literally say to my soul, here I am, come through me, like come through my thoughts, through my words, through my actions, so that I'm in loving alignment with all that is meant for me, of my highest good, of my highest timeline, and the highest good of all the people around me. And then I'll be inspired to do something random, like go somewhere that I consciously was not thinking of, or I definitely didn't have anything on the agenda. Sometimes I arrive at places I have no idea why I'm even going there. And then I arrive and I run into somebody, or I meet someone new that I needed to talk to that ends up being a lifelong friend or whatever. It's like, just kind of like the Avatar. Where are we going to go today?
We are always connected to Source, Jay Shar. So we are always connected. All you have to do is stop, take a break from the matrix, go within, and you're always connected. And for me, a lot of times when I'm speaking, I am connected, and the words aren't necessarily coming from me, they're coming through me.
Yeah.
Especially when I speak on the other side, about the other side, and about these huge topics and things like that. It's more so like they're from direct experiences for me, you know, being out there, but it's also the perspective that I have, it more so comes through me. So yeah, we're always connected.
We're multidimensional. You know, the part of we're just tapping into another part of us that has full access to that. You know, little. That's when I'm writing. You know, when I'm writing, it's like, and then I go back. I'm like, oh, did I? You know, yeah.
Damn, that came through.
Yo, I wrote a whole guided meditation one time. I channeled an entire guided meditation. It was like 3-4 pages long. I did it in like 20 minutes. I wrote my thesis, my thesis about comparing the construct.
Yeah, I read that.
I sent it to you. Yeah, when I first wrote it, I channeled that, bro, in 12 hours. Like I wrote that whole thesis in 12 hours after one of my big experiences. So yeah, can definitely.
I did that before this call. I was like, use my thoughts, my words, like to be whoever is watching this. I just asked to really be used as a vessel for this conversation. And I can tell you, I did not do that prior when I dropped my kids off at camp. They had an interview crew. They had asked me to interview myself and my daughters for this cancer oncology camp. And I couldn't get a damn sentence out for the life of me. I have no problem talking. I'm obviously in front of the camera right now. I have not had a problem coming up with words, but I did not say that prior to that. And I was stumbling over and it was so awkward. And I was like, shit, I promise. I know that.
Yeah. Great.
Wow.
Anyway.
All right, let's see another one. Bob Smith says, damn, Andre's glowing. I bet he's on semen retention. I am on semen retention. So awesome. A lot of people ask in some other lives, I'll touch on this briefly. So a lot of people ask, how do you know when, you know, the effects of semen retention? So like I practice semen retention, you know, it's been a couple months. And you emit this energy around you. You know what I mean? Your life force is now within you. And you know, people can tell and they pick up on it for sure. It's more.
It's the same for women too.
Yeah.
I mean, women. I am consciously celibate, and I can tell you, like, that when you start to understand how your energy works and how just being in the vicinity of other people. When they say you're like the average of the people you hang around with, it's not just like this airy-fairy thing that they say. No, your actual frequency emits into your field. And when you are around other people with a higher frequency, that's why you should hang out with people smarter than you, with higher consciousness level than you, because you'll start to like rise up and you can share thoughts and experiences through your energetic field without even having to touch them. But then when you understand the dynamics of that, you better be damn careful who is getting into up in your energy field.
Yeah, that's so true. That is another reason why I practice semen retention, is because when you leave your body, you begin to start to understand energy and energy flow. And I'm very careful with who I give my energy to. Like people try to reach out to me a lot. And a lot of times I don't speak to them because I'm conserving my energy for certain things, right? And the same goes for sexual interaction. Sexual interaction is like the deepest form of energy flow. Like when
field.
Yeah, you're literally exchanging energy, and it's like a big thing.
It's a very sacred thing. So if you handle these moments, even your time, your energy, your awareness, your consciousness, that's why I'm like, shut out a lot of the noise, and you'll start to realize how sacred your energy is. And then you consciously choose who you give it to and who you open up to your field. And your external world has no choice but to start to shift when you shift it from within and you start honoring it as if it is sacred.
Yeah. That's why it's common to see people that start remembering that all of a sudden you feel like you're alone. You feel like, who is around so that I can share this? And not many, because you have created that protection for your field yourself without even knowing that that's what you need at the time. And you're going to find like somebody in the comments said, you know, do you have a place where y'all talk? Yeah, Andre has a chat. I'm trying to figure out how to get the chat going. I started the group. There are safe places where we can link all this energy flow and direct it with focus towards growth.
But like master it here first. Become
Correct.
your own best friend.
Correct.
I am my own best friend. I am the only one that's going to be with myself for the rest of my life. When I die, it's like I'm stuck with
you for eternity. For eternity.
You take you everywhere, like said earlier. You take you everywhere.
You're the only thing you can't escape, right? You can block out anything else, but you're not going to.
I had this beautiful moment with my soul recently, and my soul was like, basically told me that it wouldn't choose to be with anyone else but me. Like it was just this thing that was like, oh my gosh, I'm chosen. Like I am known by the one who knows. I am seen by the one who sees. I am that. And it was just like, I felt just so incredible from within. And
accepted is
just this unbelievable acceptance. And like, I'm so glad I get to be forever with me.
So we've been on here for 3 hours. So we'll answer one more question. I think it's a good one. I see Alan has, unless you have another one too, Bam, we can do it. But let's start to wrap this up, and then we can get into like our Telegram groups, promote, see where they can find Sherri and things like that. So Alan asked, Sherri, do you do any pineal activation? Can you suggest anything? Like, does the pineal gland help influence any of this?
Yeah. The course that I am recreating right now that teach you how to go within. If you've heard anything around sacred secretion, I was having an experience years ago in the bathtub, of course. I'm sure you could guess that by now. I was in the bathtub. I was working on my pineal gland, and I work with the body, so I do understand the different aspects of that. And I was working on my pineal gland and my pituitary gland, and I experienced this thing from within. It felt like something unlocked in my brain, and I had this thick fluid that was kind of sweet flowing down the back of my throat, and I was just in this place that was like utter bliss. It felt like the most incredible orgasm. Not even, I was like beyond orgasm. I was just so incredible.
Pleasurable, yeah.
It was so pleasurable. And I was just like, I don't even know what's happening to me. I was just in that moment. And it felt like it went all over my brain, down my spine. And it was just pure bliss. And I felt like a fucking goddess, like getting out of the bathtub. I was just like, damn, if this is what enlightenment is, like, oh, that's my life.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. And that is actually around the time where I ended up manifesting that experience on that private plane and all the things. Oh, and I experienced like overnight manifestations for some other really cool stuff. So I was just like, whoa, I don't know what that was, but how do I recreate that? And then I started asking external people, like, have you ever experienced this? No one had experienced it. Years went by, and then I learned about the sacred secretion. Some people call it the Christ oil, and there's this whole process. And I'm not about all the bullshit processes. I'm like, if my body knows how to do it, it's going to remember how to do it. And I'm going to go within myself. So I did, and I've been able to recreate it. And I've learned how to teach that process in a very practical way, to teach you how to go within yourself, to activate your pineal and your pituitary gland and take it and alchemize it and bring that fluid back up and have it heal parts of your body, but then have it come out into your consciousness. Your consciousness comes online, and then you just start to flow and experience the world in a different way. And, stop brushing your teeth with fluoride.
Yeah,
that too.
Yeah.
I want to add to that, because it's real. The pineal, it's a receptor. It's an antenna, and it receives. And even now as I speak about it, I feel my crown, and that's a
Yeah.
byproduct of your pineal being activated. So
If
what
you
that
felt
does,
tingles,
yeah, I feel it up
yeah,
here. It
yeah,
literally feels like an extension of your body where you move your head and it's there. So
Yeah.
yeah, what that great. Now we're gonna go on the promotions and
Yeah.
stuff. So please let us know how you
But
do it.
yeah, and
Andre.
so the pineal gland it's literally the connection to the soul, to the body. Like that's how
Yeah.
we are connected, is through the pineal gland. That's when souls can, once the pineal gland's created in the womb, during pregnancy, that's when the soul can come in. That's like our tether to the other side. That's why when they
Yeah.
say when you activate your pineal gland, your third eye becomes activated, because like that's your soul, and that's why they try to put fluoride in the toothpaste and things
The
like that,
water,
because they
the
don't want
water.
us.
sure.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't want us connected. But yeah, that's the whole key. That's for the InBody experience, anyways. It's the pineal gland is still a distortion within the physical body, but it's a good distortion, right? Because once you access it,
Yeah.
that's everything. Yeah. So yeah, so I think that's it for the questions. Thank you so much, Sherri. Your answers were very spot on and in alignment and in a very beautiful way. You're a very beautiful soul, and your energy shines so bright. And
Aw.
I'm sure that all of our viewers can see that and experience that for themselves, for sure. So first, I want to say thank you very much for your time. It was greatly appreciated. So where
Thank
can
you.
people find you, Sherri?
Can we put all my little links in the little chat
Description. Yeah.
box? However,
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Send them to me. Send them to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
They'll
I'll
be in
add
the
them in the
description. Yeah.
description.
So
Yeah.
like I'm I'm on Instagram. I don't share a lot of this part of things on socials, but I have been getting the intuitive nudge from within to do a YouTube page. And it's only been guiding me and nudging me for about a year to be on here sharing these types of experiences and conversations, which has now led me to you guys. And I do plan to share more about my experiences within and how you can experience that too. And yeah, I'll link that up and I'll share more about it on my YouTube page. And when my course is live, it's first going to be in beta mode for people to go through and give me feedback and to be able to work through that. So it's a really beautiful digital experience for you, but that is in the works. So.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, send me the links, guys. And as of now, her YouTube is in the description. But yeah, send me those links and I'll add those in the description as well, for sure.
Thank you guys for having me. I've really enjoyed this, and thank you for all the wonderful questions. And yeah, I'm very grateful. So just remember, you guys are sovereign, and you don't need a middleman. You can go directly to source, to your soul, from within or out of your body, either way. And you can do so while you're alive before you die. So,
Yeah, that's the key. Do this before you die, right? Because
when you die, all that's going to happen is you're going to drop the meat suit. But, it is kind of more fun to do this while you're here, aware, consciously co-creating reality. So
yeah,
that would be my
it's very fun. Great. Bam, what do you got coming up?
The 10th, so 2 days from now, episode 2 of the InBody series is coming out. I'm super excited. You're shot it today, so I'm gonna have this same outfit, but you're gonna you're gonna really going to feel my energy on that one, because it's about purpose, and pretty much everything that I speak, it feels like y'all were listening to me while I was recording. So it's gonna be in a
No, I'm just kidding.
That's the good thing about living in integrity. You know what I mean? Y'all, anyone can come visit my field, and I'm the same. I do life the way I speak about it. When you stop lying to yourself, you tell the truth at all times. So I got that video coming out. I have the download is I'm about to put it on high speed, because I'm being led to publish by the end of the year. I have to
that's big. That's big. So you're gonna post
the book is gonna have 7 separate books in it. I'm not letting the Andre knows the title. So the title was given to me as well. I received it from these higher realms, and it's gonna be amazing. And I'm super excited about it.
Wow,
but
that's big. That's coming along good then. That's good, man.
No, it's pumping pages and pages and pages at a time. So and again, you know, that's what happens when we tap into that higher version of us that is trying to instruct us. This is to learn.
Yes.
This is a school. This is not a courtroom like they made you to believe. This is a school, and every experience is to learn. So and I see a lot of questions about manifesting. You know, you can always go back to Bamhek TV and look, you know, if you can't afford the method right now, there's a free series there on the outer body experience, you know. So visit our channels too. You know, there's a lot that if you haven't checked, it's a lot of good stuff for us to learn from each other. And the Telegram group, it's already set. I gotta get with Andre so he give me a little tutorial because I still that people can't comment yet. So we gotta.
I ran into that issue too. I created a channel and I'm like, people are messaging me privately like, yo, why can't I comment? I had to figure out. So you have to create a separate group chat too. It's a different way. I can show you. All
right, cool. So the Telegram group is up. So I know that y'all been trying to comment, but that would be available tomorrow if Andre and I have this conversation today or tomorrow. Yeah. But yeah, you know, and if you want to do a one-on-one with me, you can look me up on Instagram, Bam_Hek, and I'll speak to you directly. I don't charge for my time, but really, if that's only for people that really need my energy, and I know how to. I know if I'm give you my energy, and most likely I will if you reach out.
Yeah, perfect, man. Perfect. So me, I have a video coming out that I'm working on as well. I haven't shot it yet, but it's about fear and how letting go of fear and overcoming fears is the key to achieving the out-of-body state. And I'm going to go into all aspects of that too, like the fear of death, the fear of somebody coming into your body, the fear of the unknown, basically all of the thought processes that we have here as humans and how to overcome them, and ultimately how there is nothing to fear. So that will be coming out. I'll be releasing that sometime this week, for sure. And like Bam said, you know, I have a Telegram group. It's linked in the description, and I offer one-on-ones as well, specifically just to help people achieve the out-of-body state. So feel free to connect with me that way. That can be found in the Telegram group. That's about it. That's all I have. So
thank you so much, Sherri.
Thank you guys for having me.
And stay on after we end the stream if you want for a few moments.
Right.
So thank you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
As always, guys, stay grounded, stay curious, and always remember you are not just in the game, you are the one controlling it. I'm the Alchemist, and I'll see you on the other side.